one more round, the show where I ask people if they want to play one round of Overwatch. Well, I ask them a round of questions. My first guest is J-Man, DPS player from Grimoire. J-Man, thank you so much for joining me, man. This is, honestly, I'm going to say this. You have been one of my favorite players to watch ever since I started covering Face It.
Wow.
I'm so happy you are my first person to really do this.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, it is really fun to have you here. But, like, I just want to generally talk about Overwatch here a little bit right now, and to get a lay of the land here with how long you've been playing it. When did you get into Overwatch here? Like, was it launch? Was it GOATS era? Was it pandemic era 2020, which I guess is GOATS era? Or was it sometime after that?
Well, I actually have been playing. I played Overwatch since launch. I remember I played it on my Xbox. I played the beta actually, and I was like, wow, this game looks like it's gonna be pretty chill. So I remember ever since launch, I've been playing it on console, and then I think it was 2020, like right before COVID. I actually ended up getting my first PC, and that's when I started playing it on PC.
Nice. So,
and then at least for competitive-wise, I didn't really play until I started college.
Nice. I mean, hey, I'm kind of with you right there. Started with the beta and kind of just casually played it for a very long time. Never got good like you did. But like when you started taking that first competitive step with Overwatch, like when, like you said, it was around college, but what was like that first thing to let you know, like, oh, I can actually, be really good at this game?
Well, I guess for like, it's a little bit more in depth than that. To start my playing career, my high school, I was actually fortunate enough to where my high school had a esports team, so that was pretty chill. So the league we were in, like, everyone was pretty bad, so it's not like it was really that competitive, but we were able to win it because we had a few like GM players, so it was like we were just gonna win by default. But after that, I went to ASU because that was just my state school, and then I realized that they had an esports team, so I just ended up like, yeah, why not? I did at my high school, why not do it in college? And then I don't know if you followed collegiate at all, but I was able to get 4 other teammates that had actually played the game competitively before. Like, I think that the biggest names would have been Angelic and Anhu. But we started a team with them, and I was like, wow, okay, these guys actually have hands. I can't be the only player that sucks on this team. So then I started to grind a lot, and then at this time, Anhu was on Shigami, and then this is kind of how I started. Anhu was like, you should start playing in like open division and stuff like that so you can get better. So Anhu told Aeroplane to get me on their like Shiki Acad team, which is Midori. So that's where I just started playing. And then ever since then, I've just loved it. Just enjoyed it competing.
Nice. What's honestly been like your favorite, since you started competing, what was your favorite kind of competition or favorite era of this?
Right now it's pretty chill because I think this is the best I've ever been. But I gotta say my favorite was honestly near the beginning. There was one tournament, it was like our first collegiate tournament, where we had been beating all the low-end teams, and then the first really good team that we ever played was against UTD. It was like a Ram Cast May or Hanzo May era. But the first like really good team we played was UTD, and we lost to them. And we're like, man, wait, we can actually, like, it was close, but like, man, we actually want to beat them. So it kind of like set a fire in all of us. And that was like, I don't know, that was the time I was grinding the most, learning the most, and it was actually just so fun to like scrim and get better at the game. And then we actually, in that same tournament, ended up beating UTD in the playoffs, so it was like actually so like rewarding.
Nice.
I think that was like probably my favorite time. Also, it was like I had just joined this team. I had been becoming like good friends with all the ASU guys, so it was just a pretty chill time.
Yeah, and like collegiate is such a fun experience, and I mean, like, I was not fortunate enough to be on my own collegiate team. That's why I'm a caster. I mean, I'm quoted in not a magazine, but the newspaper for saying, "Oh God, I suck."
Oh no.
Yeah. Front page as well.
Oh no.
But like through all those tournaments there, you ran into a ton of incredible talent and incredible players. Like you said, you already played with a couple incredible players on your own team there. Who do you think has necessarily been like across collegiate and even now like some of the best players that you've potentially played with and against?
Played with, I'd say, like, although I make fun of Angelic a lot because he's just like he's been playing around for a while. We just call him old man and stuff. I think he's for sure probably one of the best players I've ever played with. He's just like super knowledgeable at the game, always tries, really good teammate, and it's just like super chill all around. And then playing against, I think it was when I was on ASU, when we were making OWCS, like making it out of groups consistently. Like there was a good amount of times we would play against TSM and those teams and just like Nightmare back when they were like, it was the first like form of OWCS. So I would say that was definitely the best competition I was ever playing against. And it was really fun. Even if like we were losing, it was really fun playing against them and just learning. Also, we are getting, these guys actually want this quick play game a lot more than like, this is insane.
This is not going, this is not going good because I told you, the interview ends when the map ends.
Dude, they want it so bad.
Yeah, so season 9 of FaZe just started right now. You're on Grimoire, former Amplify, now on Grimoire. What are you guys' expectations for this season coming up?
I mean, I feel like for any competition and as a competitor, if you're not going in to win, you're not really like, you're doing yourself a disservice. So obviously we want to win. That's our thing. But personally, I really want to get out of 4th to 6th range, and I want to get top 1, 2, or 3 minimum. I really want to get that.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys had a huge upset last year against the #1 overall seed in the first round. Me and Hunter covered that one. That one was a fun one to watch.
That was a fun game.
But right now with Cat Bastion was the thing that really broke you guys through there. With it slowly fading away and Xion coming in, especially with you being a DPS player, have you been learning Xion? Have you been kind of letting your other DPS players on your team kind of focus in on our newest hero?
I actually think Xion is such a good character for me personally, because I feel like the aim feels a lot like Cast. So like, and me being, I don't know, a disgusting Cast 1 trick. I feel like I love that hero and I love the M1, it feels so good. So I actually love playing the hero, but we actually, both me and Zach have both been playing, and we're just kind of, I think we're both, our mindset right now is just both get good at it, so that like whatever, if any comp like determines a double flex or like, or it's just hit scan Xion, so that we both are able to play it, so that like we can just be as flexible as possible.
Nice.
But I think the character is so fun, so.
Yeah, no, like that, I'll agree with you. Xion's fun and like maybe a little strong in some places, but it feels like in other places like balanced, which is a weird thing to say.
And I think with just like new season or new balance patch and things like that, over time people will figure out what's better and stuff. So we've just been trying stuff out.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. I mean, you guys win a lot. You guys have lost some. What type of player are you after, let's say, a loss or a win? Like, are you the one who's kind of trying to cheer everyone up, or are you kind of sitting there trying to maybe just take it all in or listen to your coach talk?
A little bit of both. I think I'm definitely more of like during a win, I'm more hype. Obviously, I feel like everyone will be more hype after a win. After a hype, I'm like going to congratulate all my teammates and make sure we're all doing great. Like, you know, bring the vibes up. During a loss, I would say I usually have a pretty good mental, so I usually try to like be like a middleman. Like, obviously I'll try to make it so it's like, alright, like obviously we lost, but like there's things we could do better, we can improve on. Don't be like too down on ourselves, or like try to point out something we didn't do too bad. But yeah, usually in the middle. But like I also will do like, yeah, we fucking lost. Like also sorry, I didn't know if we could cuss or not. So
no, you're good. You're good. This is all about learning more about you. So if you and cussing's fine. I don't care.
Okay.
I probably accidentally cussed through this already.
But yeah, I don't want to like dismiss like the loss. I'm still definitely going to be a little rough about it. I mean, losing always sucks, but if you like dwell on it too long, obviously you're just not going to be able to learn anything from it. You'll just like every loss you need to learn something from, and if you're just dwelling on it too much, you won't really be able to.
Yeah. Let me ask you, as like you said, the dirty one trick cast you are, who are some of your like biggest inspirations when it comes to how you like kind of maybe molded your playstyle or learn, like, is there anyone you kind of molded your playstyle after?
Yeah, I definitely got shit on by Chopper way too many times when I was first started playing, and I was like, wow, this guy's Thanos. So I would say Chopper is for sure one of the first skins that I actually started watching a lot of. That guy's too good.
No, I will agree with you there. Chopper is an incredible player. Crap, this is the part where I have to come up with questions randomly. So you coming into this one here, before we got started, you said, why are we picking Rialto? Like, what, in your opinion, what are some overrated maps and maybe some underrated maps?
Overrated? I mean, I feel like this isn't really a hot take. A lot of people say this. I think Kings Row is so boring sometimes.
Yes.
Like, I feel that map is solved. Like, if your team knows how to play it, you win. If your team doesn't know how to play it, it's just GG. Like, it's just been in the map for, or it's been in the game for 6 years, or for 10 years. You just need to know how to play the map. If your team doesn't, yeah, GG. Underrated? I should have ate that, by the way. But
Nope, you're good.
underrated? I actually like. I feel like Atlas is like 50-50. I actually like Atlas a lot. I think besides like the first point can be a little annoying, but the rest of the map I think is really good.
Oh, I think honestly the Flashpoint maps are some of the best maps in the game. And
Maybe another underrated?
Hmm?
I think Esperanza is so fun. A lot of people don't like Push, but I think Esperanza is actually so good.
No, it is. It is. Like, and I'll say this as a caster, I'm right there with you with Kings Row. I'm so tired of seeing it every series. Like, I understand. Yeah. Like you said there, if you can't win it, why pick it? But everyone picks it because it's been in the game since the start.
Yeah, and then it's always just like not that like you can't play other comps, but like most people just play Brawl and it's like I want to play other comps. Bro.
Well, we've done a good job of holding on here.
Yeah, we dialed in.
Yeah, team locked in. Yep.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. One last question here, and then we will get going, and I'll let you go. So, where am I going with this? I don't know. Who's your favorite teammate right now? Who's your favorite teammate on your team?
I would say, I mean, I love Ewan. I love all of them because, like, obviously it's been like 2-3 seasons together now. I think for the teammate that surprised me the most and actually, like, I've enjoyed playing with the most, I think would be Gap. Going into Amplify and the core, I always knew Gap and Ewan were always chill, always pretty good players. But I honestly just didn't know, like, how much they try and how much they want it and how good of a teammate they actually are. And Gap has, like, really showed me, like, he's made me want to get better at the game just because of how good of a teammate he is.
Awesome. J-Man, thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for coming on, man. Again, first time doing this. Awesome to have you on. I'll make sure to give all the shout outs in the post scene here, where your Twitter, your Twitch, and we'll make sure where they can all find you. Again, thank you so much, J-Man, and thank you everyone so much for watching. Make sure you tune in next time for another episode of One More Round. All right, welcome everyone to the first episode of One More Round, the show where I ask people if they want to play one round of Overwatch. Well, I ask them a round of questions. My first guest is J-Man, DPS player from Grimoire. J-Man, thank you so much.
Everybody, welcome back to the action here. We're here with the playoffs for the Copa Americana, and it was a pretty fun time last weekend. And while we could only officially do one day, Dextron, I was keeping my eyes peeled on it. There was some pretty consistent action, some really good teams, and now we've got the top 6 in the playoff picture. And there's definitely some expected teams in here. Let's keep it a buck. USA, Mexico, this makes sense, but these are not the top 2 teams. That goes to Costa Rica, who got the number 1 seed, and then who else is also waiting in that 2nd spot right now. The Hunter definitely had sitting by, ready to go, with full knowledge, by the way. He didn't have full knowledge. He forgot. So Dex, it's a scenario where these are not the top 2 teams right now. They seeded, I think 4th and 5th individually. You can give me that look all day. It doesn't change the fact that, as I adjust my glasses, Canada, right? Canada did go 5-2 and ended up placing 2nd overall. But Dex, carry this away because, like I'm saying, these are not the top 2 teams in terms of standings.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, Costa Rica's been looking really good in a lot of these tournaments in the past. And when you look at the team that they have, I mean, they still have a very strong roster there. I believe it's the majority of their World Cup team that they had in those open qualifiers there. I mean, the Conference Cups, they didn't make it to the online qualifiers, but you still have the majority of that team there. So it should be a really good team on paper. Canada as well. I feel like they, coming into this, were probably looked at as one of the favorites. Probably U.S. was looked at as another one, especially some of the members that are on that U.S. team. But I feel like what happened there for the U.S. is that, well, Face It League started last week. So you had a lot of teams that rescheduled games Saturday and Sunday, missed out a couple people there, much like how Face It League is going on tonight. And there's a chance that while we do know there's been a decent amount of games that have been moved to other days already. We know one was played already today. Social was on that team that was on one of the teams that played earlier. Social's on this Team USA team right now, so we might see them, but it's still Face League going on right now. It's gonna be really interesting to see who actually shows up for both of these rosters, considering most of these players are on Face It League teams.
Yeah. And I do have somewhat of a knowledge as to who's going to show up now based on certain VCs that I can apparently see. That's very fun. But we'll see how it develops from there, because with Team Mexico, I don't have too much of an idea. They're, again, one of those rosters that has quite a bit of people on them. I don't know if it's gone lower since then. No, they currently have, that is 10 people on the roster. Meanwhile, USA technically has 12 on the roster, but one of those is, unfortunately, since there's not a manager slot, a lot of the managers got added just to the teams. Obviously, they won't play, but just so they're listed
needed
on there. I mean, you never know. I mean, managers have had to play in the past. Cough, cough, Paris Eternal. Cough, cough. Remember those those days. Oh, my God.
We live in a different time now, though. However, let's just preference this tonight. It's still going to be 2 series tonight. They're going to be one after the other. So once this one ends, we'll quickly get into our second one. That one will be Peru and Colombia. Again, once this one ends, we are playing a 1-3, so a best of 5, unless we get a tie on a certain any map. So it should go quickly here tonight. And again, it could go quick depending on who's here and who's not. That's going to be a big thing throughout the night here. If everyone's here, I would expect to see a lot of subs right now. But I mean, coming into this one right now, I think if you're both these teams here, you kind of have to look at this as being in this spot right now is a little bit of a disappointment. Both these teams are very talented. When you look down at all the players here, the fact they are in this knockout stage right now is something that they're probably not happy about, and they want to be able to win their one game here tonight so they can move on to play tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for right now. And again, it's going to suck that one of these rosters is not going to make it into that top 4. It's a rough scenario, but honestly, you could realistically go either way with these rosters. I think they're both incredibly stacked, not just because of how many players that are on here, but also just the quality of what they've been able to produce and how they have performed against one another. I mean, if we want to go into the past here a little bit, these two teams have played each other. They played each other in the second round, which was only a 1-2, but Team USA did win it in 2-0 fashion. That's how things went down. But again, a lot of things changed since that point. I mean, beyond that, Mexico ended up going on a spree directly after that. They had some rough games, but they ended up beating a really game Puerto Rico squad. They pushed Canada to the absolute limit, who has been stellar this entire tournament. There's a lot that they can accomplish, but it's still going to be a challenge against a USA team who has only lost to the two teams that, guess what, are waiting in the semifinals right now.
Yeah, and speaking of those two teams, like I said, we're only going to be playing these quarterfinals here tonight. Semifinals will be tomorrow. Those will be the only 2 games tomorrow. Grand finals will be your only game on Sunday. And hey, luckily for, I think, us here at least, tomorrow does start at 8 p.m. Sunday for that grand finals does start at 7. So going to be moving up the time these games get started here. 2 relatively nice times here. Match should be getting started here, or at least the voting part of it should be getting started here relatively soon, but it's just stuck on 0.
Yeah, it tends to do that from time to time. I'm assuming, are you actually in the client or are you on the link? Okay, yeah, so that one won't update very often. It'll update like every minute. So it's pretty much impossible to catch certain things out, unfortunately. That's why I had you telling me, like, hey, who was attacker this time, who was,
I moved it to a different browser, and it's telling me stuff now.
All right, great. All right, well, keep me updated on how that's going, because you're the man with the knowledge right now, so break it down for us.
I will tell you. We'll tell you this, Flashpoint is going to be our first map of the night here. New Junk City, Cervasa, and Alice are in the pool. Team USA does get to make the map selection here. So we're going to get a good idea of where we want to go here early on. But it seems like USA taking their time a little bit here to make this pick. But Flashpoint as your first map hunter, I'm actually kind of on board with this. It's much like Control. I feel like you save Control for map 5 now. Here in most cases, I don't remember the map order tonight, but Control as a decider map, I think is pretty solid.
I think it's extremely solid. And to be fair, we don't get that a whole lot. I mean, I think some of the only leagues that really do that, I think, is like BPL might be the only one I can think of that doesn't start on Control all the time. Okay, so let me tell you some stuff here. Heading to New Junk City, Mexico will be attacking first. Awesome. And it will be USA banning the Xi'an here to get everything underway. Mexico now is on the board to make their ban. I mean, they leave open the tank line. They leave open the DPS. I mean, the support line here. It's going to be really interesting because like we've been saying here, Hunter, throughout NA Face It this week and South American Face It a little bit earlier tonight, we have been seeing Lucio get banned out a little bit more here as of late because there is, for the first time in a long time, an actual hero that feels like they kind of fit that role of the Lucio just without the speed pretty comfortably right now, and that would be the Mizuki. But do we see the Lucio get banned out here, or do we see something potentially like a Sigma get banned out here pretty early on from Team Mexico? I don't know. There's a lot of good options, and there's a lot of safe options this early on as well. That's the really important part. We're also in the situation where, if I'm not mistaken, I think with this being right here, I think there's not really a protection ban in place, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think this was the case last time when we did the first day, where you were able to ban multiple characters from the same category. So it's hard to protect something, so you could also go down a very specific route of getting rid of another DPS. But I think you make a fair point. I think it's maybe more worthwhile to play the support card right here. If you want to play fast, or you could get rid of the Mizuki, force fast play. If you want to go slow, you get rid of the Lucio or the Juno, force the Mizuki, slow things down a little bit. I think both are completely valid options. It's also a question of who's actually going to be in, because while everyone here is a phenomenally talented player, people definitely have their preferences on how they like to play the game.
Oh, absolutely. Here again, we're gonna get a good idea here pretty soon once Mexico makes this ban. We get our subs coming in, who is actually available for the night, because again, we talked about here, Team USA has 12 players on the roster, Team Mexico has 10. They I mean, all these teams have very deep rosters because they understood that there's going to be people who are not going to be available on some of the days the tournament goes on, because, well, like tonight, Face It League is something that's going on for probably a decent amount of the players.
Yeah. I mean, do I spoil who's in the VC, or do you want to be surprised here in a second? That's your question.
Surprised.
Is it Zay or a Ghost? It's one of the two.
It's more Zay. I'm gonna go make sure she's all right, because that was not.
Yeah. You do your thing, man. I'll keep things going here for a second. But yeah, we'll be getting invites here pretty shortly into this lobby. We're just confirming rosters, making sure all these lineups are as refined as they can be. When you have this many players, when it's as busy as things are, It makes sense, honestly. Why wouldn't it? You want to make sure you have in who you have. And it's a scenario as well with this many players. It's like, maybe it's better you don't have everybody sitting by because it's just a headache of like, do you even have the conversation of like having 12 players and saying, hey, what could possibly be our like set starting 5 if everybody was there?
Well, I mean, I think clearly for most of these teams, if you have everyone here, who's going to most likely be your starting 5. But second band came in 5 minutes now to finalize the rosters, so we might be having to yap for a little bit longer here.
Yeah,
but I mean, I remember watching Team Mexico a little bit last week. I think me and you covered Team Mexico in one of the games, and I was definitely impressed with some of them because I remember Kingaju, I remember Giraffa. They looked very good. I mean, Fatu's on this team, Oracle on this team, Bill Butcher. I don't think we saw them, but I've definitely heard that name in the past. I mean, this should be a pretty even matchup here, even though we did talk about it, this did happen in the group stage of everything, where Team USA did win it 2-0, but much different stakes now with just the setting. You lose the series, you're out of Copa America. Xi'an was introduced last week. I think you could play Xi'an last week, but now after a week of having the character in everyone's hands, I think you're seeing a lot of teams necessarily like playing Xi'an. Won't see it in our first map, remember, as Team USA did ban that out, but might be something we see a little bit later down the line, maybe next map, maybe that third map, or we might just see both these teams just ban the Xi'an pretty early on in this series.
I mean, we saw the same thing with the Sigma earlier on, where it got banned back-to-back maps from both of the teams in there. Xi'an could very well be the case here, and honestly, wouldn't properly blame either team. Xi'an, despite the little nerfs that came through, I think is still really strong. I think it's still in a really good place. Is going to be played pretty prolifically. But there are still characters that are really good, like the Sojourn that you can pull out. The Emre, who's still good to some extent. Sierra, that's randomly getting playtime now, despite many claims that, hey, she's not really good. There's really good options out there with the Xi'an not going to be available on this first one. And again, like you said, wouldn't be surprised if it's a back-to-back ban for both these maps.
Yeah, and you bring up the Emre. The Emre's an interesting spot right now. Where I think they aren't necessarily as good as they were maybe say like 2-3 weeks ago, but they aren't bad either. They're still very much viable, but I think you're seeing a lot of teams and players gravitate back towards the Soj, back towards the Cass here. Even a little bit of Soldier every now and then seems to be what some teams are relatively leaning towards in some cases here. It's very interesting when you look at that kind of hit scan line, even though I think a lot of people don't necessarily classify Emre as a hit scan there, but you definitely see a lot of hit scan players playing into that role. It's just interesting because the ultimate's still very strong. I think the grenades have been maybe nerfed a little bit here. I think that might be a point of contention why you're not seeing the Emre as often anymore. But still, Soj, I mean, we get away from Soj for about a month or two, and then she comes right back. I mean, she is essentially basically in that same kind of line as Tracer, where they're always going to be viable just because of how good the disrupting shot is and just her movement ability with that slide, where you can never necessarily get rid of her from a meta.
Especially once you get that perk online, you have the double slide as well. It's hard to do a lot at that point, quite honestly. But hey, you got to find ways to adjust to it. People have found ways to deal with the Sojourn, but if we learned anything from our last match just night, right? If we learned anything from our last match just now, Sojourn has a ton of carry potential, can still do a lot if you leave them go for even a second. So we'll have to see. That DPS battle is still going to be really important. We'll see what that DPS battle is going to look like soon, because the time is running low to have these things locked in. So hopefully we'll have things settled here pretty soon, get some lobby invites, and get the Copa properly started.
Ooh. Wrecking Ball gonna be the second ban coming out here from Team Mexico. Did you get an invite?
I have not, no. We'll get that fixed in a second. Let's talk to Senju really quick.
Yeah, but I will say this: Giraffa coming back in, like I said, saw him last week. Oracle saw him last week. Kinkaju saw him last week. So kind of expect to see those members in. But you look over at Team USA, Social in, Fern. I think Fern was one of the ones that we had a question mark on because their team is playing Face It League tonight. Reels in, Z4, Nato coming in as well. I don't think we saw him necessarily last week at all, but we know how good of a team, how good of a player they are.
Right. Absolutely a phenomenal player. I got to learn a lot about players like Fern last season playing on Vivacity. Looked phenomenal. Was one of my big shout-out players as well throughout that season. We'll see. Honestly, again, it's an impressive lineup no matter who you were going to put on here. But we'll just have to wait and see how well things actually end up
played. We're not getting in. We are not
getting in. I thought you guys would take the clean feed. What clean feed? Okay, well, Dex, we have to do a thing real quick.
Yeah.
We're going to have to... All right, so give me 1 second for evasive maneuvers, guys, but I'm going to get this thing up momentarily. I've had to do this before. Let's do it again.
Tell me when you're in, and then I'll... What?
Oh, no, I was basically going to say what you were going to say. I'm just trying to make sure it's full screen ready to go because this bar won't go away. Okay, there we go. All right, let me put on sound really quick. Okay, I am about to be in. I am indeed in.
What time are you at?
2, 1, 0. Activating.
Okay, we're at the same time. So USA coming out here with the Malga, kind of what we expected here. The Wrecking Ball being banned out by Team Mexico is very interesting, but still, this is a map where that kind of Wrecking Ball can definitely find a lot of value here. There's a lot of good opportunities for it to get that tether, be able to roll through. But you look over at Team Mexico, they're playing the Ramatra here with that Mei. That has been a great combo in the past, especially being able to slow down a Malga that you're seeing there from Reels.
Yeah, and it's really interesting as well as seeing Kikachu in here over on that Mei. Saw that Mei during last weekend as well from Kikachu specifically, who had a really good performance. But as you see right now, everyone's moving forward. Natakado does take care of Oracle. All that speed gone, taken care of. And now it's going to be a struggle to hang around if your Team Mexico as Jirafa is playing the 80 strafe on the shield and is living for a long time, unfortunately. It's not going to do a whole lot. Eventually, Team USA gonna take the first fight away, and due to all that damage, Zach Natakado, them getting ult this next fight, after they claimed the point, by the way, they haven't capped. There they go.
There you go. It took them a little bit right there, but that's actually kind of big for Team Mexico. They're going to be able to come back in very quickly. And while I talked about Kingju on that Mei, didn't talk about Zach on the Mei as well. I mean, that's definitely something that could really disrupt a lot here. Mei's very vitally important to both sides. Now, Natakado needs to kind of run for the life. Could get some healing up there from Social. And this is, I mean, the more you look at this Team USA comp, they want to be fastest points, but it's going to be Social actually finding Jirafa out here early on. But Kingju right back on the Nato.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward trade to lose that on your tank like that. Natakado being down, that's cool. But basically, you just don't have to push too hard as Jirafa goes over to the Reinhardt in this one now.
I don't necessarily hate this. I think we started to really see Ryan kind of take into a little bit of a spot here where they are being used against the Malga, but you need to play almost perfectly.
Yeah, you do. It's already suffering for damage. Zip is going to have to try to pop off here. It's pushing everybody back. Big pin over onto Fern, and now you see on the run right now, Social is able to float away, is going to go ahead and pop the orbit array. Unfortunately, Reels gets super low, gets heals in the neck of time as Natakado is going to try to play hero once more. May fall over, but Dex, I think the damage might already be done as Freeze comes out from Kikachu. It's going to catch onto one person. Unfortunately, it's the tank with full health.
Yeah, and it's a very, I mean, Reels was very lucky right there. I felt like I saw him at 1 health as they were charging in. That orbital ray came in at the perfect moment right there for him. But Team USA getting off to a great start here right now. And again, we come back to the conversation of, well, who were you going to see tonight from everyone? And Team USA, it looks like they brought the majority of their, okay, Jirafa. Interesting play right there, but now some swaps coming out here from Mexico. You see Kingaju go over to this Reaper instead, especially with Reels on that Malga. That Reaper should be able to kind of chunk them down a little bit, apply a little bit more pressure to them, and try to keep them a little bit further away, especially with Jirafa playing this Rhine. You want to make sure you're kind of keeping Reels away from Jirafa here for the most part.
Yeah, tries to read the pin right there. Instead, Jirafa finds themselves behind a wall. Getting drilled into that shield, though, still standing strong, able to hang around, but a freeze for Zach, ready to go. Could just throw it right down the Rhine, and they're cage fighting. It's gonna freeze all 5 of them, and it is death to Team Mexico as USA. It is just perfect execution.
I mean, that's a combo that, guys, the point. Cap, thank you. That's a combo I feel like we rarely see, but it worked out to perfection right there. And it all came down to the fact that all 5 members of Team Mexico are caught inside of that cage. And Hunter, you don't normally see 5-man cages anymore unless everyone kind of just rushes themselves into it right there to really help out someone who's already in it. But now, Shatter coming out from Giraffe will end on the 2, but you need to be able to find the picks right now, and you don't even find 1. You find Natto, but you still have to deal with Raze.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to eventually fall on over. Real still has all the care in the world, and now it's going to be another one out here. Social does use the ult, maybe a little misplaced, but at the end of the day, they're going to win the fight. They still have Kitsune Rush to be able to match Restricts, but it's going to come to Zip and Natakado making plays, honestly.
Yeah. But right now, I mean, you look over at... Oh, but that's a huge actually pick there for Mexico. That's been one thing they've been struggling to find these first picks here. Getting rid of Social, who's been vitally important so far for Team USA. Great, but you lose Kingachu right back, who was right on the edge of a Death Blossom.
Yeah, and you still need to find a touch, by the way. And Oracle is not particularly close. So you need to be able to, like, double Zoop in here if you're Zip. In fact, that's, like, their plan is Zip getting this touch. Barely does. Is probably going to go down as a result of getting that touch as Kitsune Rush out. Immediately a 5v4, and Fern already clicks 2 people away. Those kunai going crazy. As it's map point already for Team USA, and Mexico struggling to get a whole lot going here.
Yeah, and Team USA, I mean, they're just speedrunning this map at the moment. Everything's working out great for them. Real's not dying has been a big boon to them in a lot of these fights. Social, though, very low. Gonna die to Zip. But again, we've seen USA just win fights without Social around, without Fern around. Like, they are okay being down 1, but you look over the other side now for Team Mexico. You're going to have a Shatter. You're going to have a beat. You have that Death Blossom, which can be vitally important here because there's not a beat on the other side to really negate that out, or a shield. So this Death Blossom could be relatively big here, but does Kingachu hold it for the cage? We saw that a lot last week, or they use it early on to try to get Team Mexico going here.
We'll see how it goes. I imagine you can try to build up to this combo and make things last a little while longer. Reels is already really close to having the cage fight online, but they're being pushed away. Kingachu is looking to go in, but Natakado gets 2 away, and now that is already done and taken care of. And now the unfortunate part, you lose that fight, the point is capped over, and the ultimate combo is there, and the beat might not even help.
Yeah, the beat not probably won't here. I mean, you might use beat into cage here from Reels, but Zach has that Blizzard online, so you cannot necessarily rush all 5 into it. You don't want what happened last time to happen again. But Natakado fighting Zip out right there, now being harassed a little bit by Oracle, but Oracle not going to be able to live right there. And I mean, look at how far USA is pushing up. The Shatter does come out, and you do find 2 right back, but still, you need to be able to finish this fight.
Yeah, and I mean, you're pushing everybody back. You're back into a 3v3. Reese ends up going down. So now this should be in your favor. It's just Social Natakado, but Natakado is the type of player I think that may consider pulling the trigger, but no, it's going to get forced out. Fire Strike away. As Team Mexico finally going to take away a fight here, and they still have some really good ultimates on the table.
And Social now being harassed a little bit by Kingachu. Kingachu, I mean, Social landing the shots here forces them back, and now Kingachu very low, but Social decent amount away from the point here, so Team USA might have to wait a brief moment, but you do see Social right back into the fray. Orbital Ray about to be online from hell. All 5 ultimates about to be online for the United States.
Yep, cage fight's there. Freeze ready to go. Real's getting super low. The freeze this time isn't going to get anybody, but it's still going in the favor as it hits them after the fact, or at least I think maybe it was a little more delayed as Zip falls on over. Cap comes through, and with 70%, it's going to be a mad dash to the point.
Yeah, and you're already seeing all the swaps coming out here from Team Mexico, just trying to get a touch here. You have Giraffe coming back here on this Malgo, and Oracle has the beat, so you have to imagine this beat's going to come out here just to get a touch here. But the Death Blossom comes out, shuts down Natakado, who just popped their overclock.
Yeah, now Reels is barely hanging on. Kitsune Rush is here, but it's just 3. And unfortunately, I don't think you can sustain off of this. Point's going to flip on over. It's at 60%, and now people are potentially going to go down in here, and if they do, it's going to be a real tough time to come back here, but Zach is sustaining through. Social trying to run out. If you get everybody alive, it'd be massive, and as a matter of fact, you don't. You take a trade. Both Sojourns are gone now, Dex. It is desperation time. Rafa needs to stay alive.
Yeah, but you're seeing Reels coming back in here is forcing enough of pressure here to force back Team Mexico here just for a regroup. You might get a free point flip here right now, but Mexico can come right back in with a lot of ultimates of their own. That cage from Giraffe and Restrict with that Kitsune Rush are going to be the big players here for them.
Yep, cage fights there. It's going to be used pretty quickly. It's going to pull in at least one. It's a rough position to be in if you're Reels. Zach falls in there as well. So many people getting low. It's advantage looking to go to Team Mexico, but no, Nadakado's in there on the Tracer. And while Social's barely hanging on, it's just going to be the cleanup squad coming through here as Pikachu tries to run for their life. But Zach, no mercy to be found as it's going to be a 3-0 to get things started here for Team USA. It gets very competitive, especially towards the end, but they pull it out.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they were looking for here for this start. They got off to that hot start. Team Mexico took them a little bit to get going, and really that last point was by far Team Mexico's best point. But you saw the swaps come out there. Maybe that Malga needed to come out a little bit earlier there from Giraffa, who, I mean, just kind of struggled in the Malga throughout the entirety of that round, whether it was on the Ramatra that first fight or to the Rhine. The Malga looked like to be their best thing, but Team Mexico might just be a coverability thing with them here. But now Mexico has the pick of our next map, which is going to be Escort here. Dorado, Route 66, and Watchpoint are going to be our options here. So, I mean, Hunter, when you look at this, I mean, you're looking at a very good dive map, I think a very good poke map, and then a very good kind of hybrid map with Dorado.
There is a good mix to be able to work with, I will say. I don't know which one you realistically want to go down. In my perspective, I would choose to maybe swap things up a little bit. You got some momentum towards the end, but maybe it's time to test the waters differently, because you know both these teams will have limitations on who they can bring in. But if Mexico decides, hey, we have a style we want to be able to bring in, because if I'm not mistaken, Team USA opted to bring us here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Team USA did opt to bring us to New Jump, yes.
Okay, yeah. So there's a chance that, hey, maybe we decide to completely change things around, take things to where we can run something that's maybe a little more poke related, or maybe even more the route of dive. I would say poke more than anything, but Dex, it sounds like you have some information standing by.
Route 66 going to be our next map here. Team Mexico picked that one. I will tell you who's going to be first attacking here in a moment, but Team Mexico taking their time. So while they do that, I'm going to take a look at some stats from that last game there. I mean, everyone on the side of Team USA, the least amount of elims that first map there was Fern, who only had 18. That's more than anyone on the side of Team Mexico did. I mean, you look at Team Mexico's DPS line combined, only 24 elims for them there combined, and 19 deaths as well combined. Across the board right there. Team USA did a really good job of just playing the space in a lot of those fights on map 1 and really just falling behind Reels for the most part.
Yeah, it's been an impressive performance thus far. It's one of those maps where I feel like everybody had their own moment right there. But again, Team USA, with what they were able to do, it's really impressive. But they do have to keep it up. They can't be complacent. They have to keep adapting with this series, because Mexico, they are also going to adapt. And I think a lot of these players, from what we've seen the bits of before, definitely have the capability of making those adjustments when they need to. But it's about doing them here with Route 66 as we're waiting for bans to come through, which Mexico will have the first one.
Hey, make sure you open up the new clean feed. First one crashed.
Fun times.
Yep. Team Mexico, though, will be attacking here first when we go to Route 66. Very interesting strategy by them. I believe they also got to pick side here when it came to this. So Team Mexico does get first ban. And what do you ban out here? You could ban out the Malga here, and this definitely is a map where you could still see it. Or do you get rid of something else? Do you get rid of the May? I thought we were seeing great May play, honestly, from both teams, but Team USA found more value with it. Do you get rid of a support like that Mizuki, maybe the Lucio here? Because we did see both teams not play Mizuki at all. Both still favor. Actually, no, you could get rid of the Juno here, realistically, if you're Team Mexico, if you're worried about that, because that is one thing that you did not see from Team Mexico that first map was the Juno.
I mean, you're not wrong. Juno is something that you can choose to not deal with again, but again, it comes down to the style they want to play, because maybe they do want to be a situation where it's like, hey, we want to bring out like Misuki Sigma kind of style. Something that we've kind of seen a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Sigma's kind of making some return to form, but there's a lot of good tanks right now that can do a lot of different things. It's a whole thing. The meta will be a lot more in place here this coming week. But Dex, that first ban, how we looking?
Tracer is going to be our first ban here from Team Mexico. And not... I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't. We saw Reaper, we saw May and really Soj dominate there throughout the majority of last map for Team USA. We did see the Reaper come out there for Team Mexico towards the end of it, but Tracer being banned out here from Mexico is interesting. You're really trying to make sure you keep your backline a little bit safer here now, because that's what you're really looking to get with Tracer a lot of times. So you might be trying to see Team Mexico kind of slow down the pace of this game here a little bit. Maybe play a slower backline, maybe something like an Ana, maybe something like a Brig here. That is normally a dive backline, but it could be something you see here if they desperately want to just try to play on top of Big Earls for as long as they can.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of styles to set up that would kind of give that amount of comfortability that I think they're capable of having. Definitely so. But I don't know. From USA, it might be a situation where they could go poke heavy as well if they were to attack first. But I could see a round where they try to play fast. Again, this is one of those things where on Big Earl, there's points where you can technically touch the point to contest, but you're basically putting yourself in the wide open to be able to do so. So it's a fine line that you have to watch very carefully if you decide to commit to Big Earls like that. But I don't know. We'll have to see. There've been so many times in the past where this is the map where I've seen, I wouldn't say the most full holds, but I've definitely seen a lot happen on this map.
Yeah, I mean, this first point is incredibly difficult just because of the hairpin turn that there is after the long straightaway once you immediately get going here. But one thing I don't think we're going to end up seeing this map until potentially third point, if we get that far, is May. I don't think you're going to see Mays this time around. Do we even see Malga this time around here for Reals? I think it's going to be an interesting thing here with subs. If Reals comes out and we see another player come in their spot, you kind of have to imagine that means the Malga will not necessarily be played for Team USA here, because we look at this map and I think I called this one more of a poke map just because of how Big Earls is normally played. But you could definitely play Brawl, you could definitely play Dive. I mean, hell, no one's going to stop you from doing any of that, but it just comes down to what they really want to play here. And right now, as lineups are being finalized, I don't see any movement just yet. D.Va, though, is going to be the second ban coming out from Team USA. Reals is going to be staying in. That D.Va ban is interesting, Hunter. I still think it really does allow a lot of that Malga to be played still, but it also does open up to so much other stuff that D.Va's easily able to kind of deal with.
Yeah, 100%. D.Va just has so much versatility where she's never the best tank, but she has been a tank that you can simply pull out to make a big difference with. Like, you know me personally as a tank. If I'm ever struggling, it's like, I'll just go D.Va. I'll go D.Va. Because it's a safe pick. It's a reliable pick to go to. So take away that option. I fully understand it. I totally get it. So we'll see how things go down as we're getting ready to get into this map pretty shortly here on Route 66. As you said before, it is going to be Team Mexico starting over on the attack. So, and again, this is their choice to attack first. So we'll see what that kind of confidence brings and what they're willing to bring out.
Yeah, quick. What time are you at?
5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
Phenomenal.
And we're going to quickly see here what these two teams want to play. And yeah, I thought the Malga might not necessarily come out here. This could be the interesting thing with Reals. Were we going to see the Malga or were we going to see something else from them? And I really thought if we were going to see something else, we might see another tank come in. But no, Reals is showing us they're flexible right now. Going to be coming out on the Sigma. Like we talked about before the series got started, Hunter. Sigma, very strong at the moment. But look at what we're seeing from USA's support line right now. Lucio, Ana. An interesting support line in the grand scheme of things. Does look like we have some subs. Vatu coming in for Team Mexico on that support line. Gonna be going over to the Iari on a map like this where you can have these long sight lines. The Iari will find a decent amount. Social though makes a late swap now over to the Wu Yang here. And again, everything about this comp, maybe other than Zach, Hunter, for Team USA, really just screams that they are trying to poke you out throughout the majority of any engagement.
That's what I'd imagine you want to do, and this is one of the routes I thought we might take with the double Sigma. No Misuki obviously on display, but Dust being over the Genji, I think, is really unique in a scenario like this, and Zach being able to match it. These teams kind of reading each other in a lot of ways, and it's really awesome to see. But it's a poke battle to get things going. Social is down first, so solo heals by for Fern as the rest of Team USA is hoping to be able to stay alive. A lot of directs nailing directly over onto Zach, who barely gets out of there alive.
And now Nadokado in a kind of a bad spot right here, but it's actually going to be them finding Zip, but they'll immediately fall right back out after that. And if you're Team USA, a quick fallback right here to get a regroup, at least get Social back into the fray is probably what you're going to want to do here. Don't lose anyone else. Yeah, give up this space, but we talked about Hunter. This is a mo right now. If you're on the defense side, you win a fight here. You're in that prime territory just to be able to hold on to so much space, especially on top of Big Earls. But Social, first one taken out yet again.
Yep, and the rest of USA looking to fall very quickly as Zach, one of the last ones remaining. Fern is hanging about, eventually gone, and that is a really quick take for Team Mexico to get things started. We'll see if there's any change up to the side of Team USA. I imagine it's going to stay the same, but Social will go to that aforementioned Mizuki.
Yeah, and I think the only reason we're probably not seeing a swap from Fern is because they're so close to a Nano, but you're not going to have the Nano Blade up for a little bit. You might give the Nadokado, who does find Dusk out there, but still, you're looking for a little bit more right now if you're Team USA. This is a point right now where if you do win a team fight, you could play up a little bit, but not maybe the smartest thing, but Flux online for them. Captain Sun, the Flux, about to be ready for the other side here, Hunter. Team Mexico getting off to the side they're looking for.
Yeah, but now obviously lose out on Vatsu. You have to kind of try to get everybody out, but Drafa just gets cut off by Zach, who was trying to cut through everybody, by the way. Managed to help get rid of a lot as you see Dust there on the run, trying to escape away. Zipto is vulnerable as well, as somehow it looks like they're both alive, but Dust with a late death as they're nearly in the spawn held, and they're going to Flux to get rid of Reels, and unfortunately, it's not going to work because the Nano's used.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what I was talking about with winning one fight for Team USA. You're able to take so much space back, but how much space do you realistically take here? Well, looks like the realistic answer was all of it. They want to be at the spawn store. You got the Flux out there, not necessarily for free, but you're still holding spawn doors right now, and you're about to come up to still 4 really good ultimates.
Yep, and now here's the big blade from Zach right now. No Nano behind it, but it's still finding a little bit of success. Got rid of one. You see the rush there from Dust to get back into the spawn, who will get back. But Vatsu is back there, has got rid of one. It gets soloed by Nadokado.
I mean, here's the thing though. If you're Team Mexico, you love that. You got the Deadeye out for essentially nothing. Look at the ultimates right now for Team USA. You have the Sanctuary, you have the Flux, the blade out from Dust, gonna get rocked away from it right there. But still, that's one ultimate down. You still have a huge ult advantage right now.
Yeah, Drafa struggling to stay alive as well, got chained down, is able to hang around. Reels is going to pull just one, and that's all you need right there. Zip is gone. The rest of Team Mexico will follow some cleanup from Nadokado, but Vatsu again getting their one.
Getting their one, not going to be able to escape as Fern, going to be able to go up there and clear them out, but still, Team Mexico has 3 ultimates. You got rid of the Flux, so you're in a good spot. You still have this advantage, but you need to get something going here right now, especially as Team USA looking to try to take all that space back. Again, they really want to play close here, Hunter, because they do not like that time bank. They want to make this a very low time bank whenever Team Mexico finally does break through and starts to, press that ultimate button.
Yeah, Drafa gets all the pressure in the world as you try finding something there. Unfortunately, it didn't get eaten. It just didn't connect on anybody properly. So that's going to be the reset coming through again for Team Mexico, who just burnt a majority of their ultimates.
And that's the worst thing that could have happened right there. You basically just reset the ult economy. Yeah, you're going to have Flux and Consumer Rush here pretty soon, but Fern will have that Consumer Rush online. Nadokado should be able to build to a Deadeye here pretty quickly, but look at all the space that Team USA is taking yet again. They are not afraid of this right now. They are basically just kind of toying with Team Mexico right now. They are trying to force Team Mexico to use these ultimates early so that they can at least break through, and they just aren't breaking through.
Yeah, in fact, they're going down the same angle every time, and now here it is, the Kitsune Rush. Fern is gone, who's been massive so far in this series, as this is the big chance to roll on forward as Social gets low. Zip, though, I think maybe overestimates the scenario, or underestimates the scenario, I should say. Now USA are looking to clean up again, as Fern will be back in no time, and unfortunately, they had a chance. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work out as Flux is being used. It hits onto 2, but it's not going to get anybody down.
And Social running for their life right now, but you're seeing Giraffe kind of get caught between 2 worlds, going after Social, going after Reels. They chose Reels. Maybe it was the wrong choice. The blade now coming out from Zach, going to be able to shut down Giraffe, but wow. Team Exo right back to where they were already, Hunter. Back to square one as everyone running back towards the spawn. And you don't have that ultimate advantage still. Giraffe, though, making a swap here, recognizing that it is not working anymore on the Sigma. Over to the Winston instead.
Gotta love some good old Winston Overwatch going on here, but you gotta get past this choke if you're gonna find value on it. That's the issue. But as we see very quickly, Winton is gone. Poor Winton, you will be missed. But everyone gonna get rocked in the corridor. They're pretty much pincering from both sides. Ooh. And again, Team Mexico keeps getting their one, but Dex, that has been it over the course of the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, and again, Team Mexico got off to a really good start. I thought they finally broke through onto Team USA, but ever since then, it just hasn't worked out for them. And again, look at Team Mexico. Yeah, you're going to have the Deadeye, the Blade, and the Beat here, but Sanctuary, Kitsune Rush, Flux, Deadeye ready for Team USA here. And if you're Mexico, I think right now you need to be concerning yourself about getting a touch.
Yeah, and your touch is something you will get. Somehow gets two with that. Dust needs the biggest blade of their career. However, it's only going to be able to get one. Is chained down. Can't even retouch. It was such a good start for Team Mexico. But after that cap, it is straight shut down city.
Yeah, and here's another thing. You look at this right now for Team Mexico, and you can be disappointed with how that round ended, but we talked about coming into this map. This is a map where the first point full hold is possible, and something that we talked about happening a decent amount, maybe more than other first points in these escort modes. So it's definitely something that Team Mexico can kind of lock in and lock down their defense here. Team USA might struggle here, but again, we need to see that Team Mexico that we saw come out of the gate here. They were able to find that value early on and looked great, and then it just all fell apart once Team USA started to apply a little bit more of pressure to Team Mexico.
Yeah, a lot more pressure, but we'll see how it goes now as defense in the card for Team Mexico now. USA going to be on the attack. I cannot imagine their comp is going to change up almost at all. I do like that Girafa's in on the Ramatra, though. A little bit more defense. I know the Sigma 1v1 wasn't working out too well. In the extra sustainability, I think a scenario like this is going to go a long way.
Yeah, but, I mean, Fern on the Zen would be interesting. I don't believe it, but you look over back at Team Mexico right now, you have the Mei, you have that Ramatra there. You're basically trying to hold it on to these corners as long as you possibly can. You want to hold on this first point for Team Mexico as long as you can, because look at how much they basically pushed after first point, Hunter. That's realistically just past the space you get for free, almost, there. Natakado, off the Widow, just looking for that one shot. Maybe someone's going to peek their head, hoping that maybe they'll see a Widow on the other side. But right now, you see what you have right here for Team USA going up against Team Mexico, and you probably are already understanding what you need to do to get through it.
Pretty good understanding for that fact right there. I love the fact that they're playing low with this Mei. But you have Zach back here who just needs to get them low enough to dash right through. Social able to help it on the Wu Young as while Girafa's going to live a little while longer, doesn't take anyone down with them. And much like Team Mexico on their first fight, they are breezing through it.
Yeah, and it really seemed like Team Mexico didn't even know that Zach was back there. Like, really, it seemed that it kind of caught Dusk off guard for the most part there, but this isn't necessarily point one capped here just yet for Team USA. Yeah, they are pushing up as Natakado now onto their third hero of this round, technically, on the Freya, but you see now Team Mexico deciding between whether or not to chase after Natakado on that high ground or go for the point, and it looks like they're trying to chase some picks here, but again, the only person on point right now is Reels. Yeah,
there's a little bit more help going on right there, but Zip is down. They're just getting dissected right now. And now with only 32 meters and the fact that we have so many late deaths coming through, Girafa is alive, but Girafa's not going to stop the cart for long. And the question is, genuinely, can someone get back here in time?
No one can. Team USA can put 3 more on this cart right now and the map would be over. Remember, you're now, the final 2 defensive spawn points on this map are the furthest spawn points away in the game. I mean, you might only need one person on the point right now for Team USA to win this map as the Tidal Blast comes out from Social onto themselves.
Yeah, Girafa's going to try to make it over to the point right now. Might be the only one who can touch. You see Restrict on the run. Is going to get the momentary touch. It's a nice freeze, but no one is there to get back to the point. A Flux ready to go just in case somebody did. Team USA looking really good right now in prime form to potentially move on to the semifinals tomorrow, but Team Mexico, I mean, they need a bounce back badly after that.
Oh, badly. Really, really badly. there. Team Mexico, they got off to a good start of this map. And like I said, I thought we were seeing a much different Team Mexico than what we saw in map 1. The subs came in and looked really good, but then it kind of just quickly fell apart after they got that first point cap. It's like Team USA almost gave it to them for free, essentially. I know they didn't, but USA kind of just backed off a little bit, understood what they wanted to do there, and played it perfectly on that defensive side. Yeah, they had to hold it for 5 minutes, which normally you eventually expect to see a breakthrough when you have that much time, but Team USA did a good job of kiting ultimates out from Team Mexico, actually forcing ultimates out as well. I mean, Mexico was always trading ultimates, even though US would sometimes maybe overinvest into those fights, but Mexico was just kind of always respond with their own there. Not necessarily what you want to be seeing from that instance if you're Mexico, but still something that you could improve on, especially with potentially 3 more series maps left in this series. You could really bounce back here right now, but Team Mexico gonna be picking our 3rd, potentially final map of this one here, and it will be a push map.
Yeah, and push, only so many different ways you can push, or you can play a push map specifically. I mean, you could go to Runasapi where you could decide, hey, let's try to bring back the Mauga. Maybe that worked a little better in our favor map 1. Because honestly, you don't want to find a repeat of what you just went through. Yes, I realize things weren't exactly clean either all the way back on New Junk City, but I think there was a lot higher highs that existed there for Team Mexico, because the alternative is trying to force dive, but unfortunately, Dex, there's not a push map that exists where you can force dive to happen.
Yeah, there's not really one that you could force. Esperanza might be the best map for dive when it comes to push, but do you want to play it? That's going to be the interesting thing. And Mexico is taking their time here right now, which honestly, yeah, take all the time in the world here. You have to use these as little coaching breaks right now, especially with all the players on this roster here for both these two teams. You have to imagine everyone's kind of pitching in right now saying what needs to happen. But we're going to be heading to New Queen Street for our 3rd and potential final map of this series. And Mexico decides that they're going to be the attacker here. But first ban also going to be Team Mexico here. So we'll get to know where they're kind of thinking. Do you get rid of the Sigma here? Do you get rid of potentially just something else? It's going to be an interesting thing to see from Team Mexico.
Very interesting on what route you opt to go.
Okay.
What? What? Explain.
They got rid of the cat.
That dastardly cat, you know. What's your thesis?
The only reason you're banning out the cat here is if you truly believe that maybe someone on the bench right now for Team USA is going to come in, play the cat, have the Bastion there as well. But again, there's definitely better options for Team Mexico here. You could have got rid of the Sig. You could have got maybe rid of the Soj preemptively here. This is a good map for the Sojourn. Could have gotten rid of the Mizuki, could have gotten rid of the Kiri. Like, there are options. The cat is definitely one of them, maybe a little bit further down the totem pole, but I guess you just want to preemptively get rid of that here to get rid of the Bastion. But if you're Team USA, what just stops you from saying, okay, we're just going to ban out the Bastion right now and say like you're already kind of made the Bastion lose a lot of its value. Let's just get rid of it and just go best v best here.
Yeah, you could very easily go down that route, and you wouldn't change anything if you got rid of the Bastion. Yeah, I mean, makes sense, honestly. It just adds up. Why not? Yeah, I mean, you saw a little bit of play right there of the Rhine coming up for Team Mexico for a few fights back on New Junk City. In Team USA, I don't think has any interest in running the character either, so it's just like, it's a really simple ban that doesn't change much, if anything.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it for about a point and a half back on New Junk City, and maybe it was something that really did almost work for Team Mexico, but you didn't find the value with the pins, the shatters. I mean, you did land 2, but I think you only found maybe 1 pick from the 2 right there. Is it going to be a Malga mirror here? Do you see Ramachas come out from Team Mexico? Do you see a Sigma mirror here? It's going to be very interesting right now to see, but looks like Kingaju coming back in here for Team Mexico. Boop, though, is now in for Team USA. So a sub for them for the first time this series.
Yeah, and we'll see how that
Social comes out.
Yeah, Social coming out, which is very interesting, I will say. But still, with Boop in, I don't know how much the dynamic really shifts with Social out and Boop coming in. I don't think it's anything extreme, but as we're seeing out the rip here, it's currently hovering on the Lucio, which adds up.
Yeah, especially with playing with still playing the Sigma right here, the Lucio does help you out a lot. You need the speed to really move Sigma around, not necessarily the fastest tank in the game. But you look over at the other side, Giraffe is showing us a Zarya, which will honestly work, especially with that DPS line. You see there's Zip and Kingachu. I mean, those are two DPS heroes that want to be relatively kind of close in your face. So the bubbles going out on both of them will allow Giraffe to be charged up enough here that Zarya will find an immense amount of value here early on. But Hunter, another thing, I talked about potentially seeing a Soldier a little bit earlier on in the series, or a little bit earlier on before the series got started. And look at what Narukado's playing here.
Ooh. Well, yeah. Bringing out the Soldier 76, the legs to get things going. As out the rip, you see Zip. Bit of struggle right now as we already see a return to form here for Team USA. Off to a good start. Rafa again gets the one, but again, that is the extent.
Yeah, that X cross ability right there for the Xion is just so strong at times. So strong in just general. I mean, maybe that's why you're seeing that projectile size get nerfed a little bit here, because that might have just been a little bit too strong. But still, you're looking at something right now for Team Mexico here where you're trying to find just some value early on. That's been, I think, what I've been saying for them all night long here. But, oh, you need to find the kill there on Nato, and you're going to be able to, but Boop's going to be right there to trade it out almost immediately.
Yeah, Zach gets out of there pretty efficiently as well. We're in a 4v4, and it's not a bad 4v4 to be in right now, but Zach is not going to be able to be touched as easily with the fact that Zip is still coming back. You see, everyone gets out. Pikachu gets rocked all the way from up there by Reels. That was crazy. But the problem is they need to be able to hold this area, and it's going to be a rough hold.
It's going to be rough. You have no ultimates on your side, really, and you lose Kingachu early on, who was probably going to be the only player who had an ultimate ready to go. You're going to have to give it this forward spawn or the checkpoint for free, but there's no stop right now for Team USA. They have the ultimates coming up compared to Team Mexico. I mean, it's going to be difficult for Mexico to get anything going.
Yeah, and you see, you try to get out with your Vatu, and you do actually. You get all the way around despite the chase, but it doesn't change a whole lot, unfortunately, especially as Ultimate's ready. And unfortunately for Team Mexico, USA, theirs are ready first.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at where this barrier is right now. Maybe you have like to be a little bit further if you're Team USA, but you could get a huge lead here early on. Grab, though, still decently far away, but the Flux out from Reels, and now Spiral and Kitsune out from Team USA.
Yeah, that's a lot, ultimately, but they're going to keep trucking on forward. You get a ton of meters. You're going to get to at least 100 on top of this right now. And now you're hoping that Mexico is desperate enough to alt dump into this fight.
They honestly just might here, and that's kind of been their forte so far. But you lose Vatu early, so you're not going to have the beat. But the Kitsune Rush coming out from Restrict just to try to get Team Mexico going a little bit, but you lose Restrict.
Yeah, and you're going to try to get in there to find something, but Zip not able to hit that cycle right there. Zach, however, does, and Zip gets extremely low. Pikachu does get a really good chase down here to get things going, but an excellent boop coming through from a Boop, named this for a very good reason. As Pikachu maybe thought about Death Blossom, realized not the right time.
Not the right time. I mean, you still have a good amount of ultimates on your side right now if you're Mexico, so you're not necessarily in a big rush here. Still a decent amount of time bank, but honestly, you're just trying to at least reset the spawns with Narukato off angle right here. Going to be able to find one with the visor.
Yep, and again, Pikachu was definitely going for it. Just doesn't have the capability of doing it right now. Gets taken care of. Zip is trying to run out of there as Immortality Field not going to do much of anything, but Mexico, they're still alive. They're hanging in there, but they're still losing bodies.
Yeah, and now if you're Mexico, you are in Final Fight territory here yet again, and you're losing Restrict early on. Grand, you're going to have all your ultimates ready to go right now, but now there's the grab coming out. It captures 4, but it won't necessarily matter.
Fatu is over there. I think it's Pikachu currently over on the point right now trying to hang around. Just doesn't have anybody around to hit that on, and now you have some ultimates to touch, but beyond that, it's complete desperation mode right now.
Yeah, and Team Mexico, I mean, they are looking for anything right now. The Spiral and the Beat will have to do numbers here for them. There it comes out. Both those ultimates out right now for Mexico, and they find one.
Yep, Sound Circle Spree coming through big time right there. Zip has got rid of 2. Almost gets rid of a 3rd, and everyone's forced away, so Mexico will live to fight another one. But still, there's a lot of hard work to be done here. As you see, they're trying to still live in here. They'll eventually be taken out, but even with those later deaths, they'll catch the early respawn, and everyone will be back quick.
But Hunter, you still have half the time bank left here. If you're Team Mexico, that's what the positive you have to be looking at right now. Other than that, you cannot really afford to lose one fight because you're going to get all that space right back to Team USA. You have this IM metrics online, but if you're Zip, you need to start running away and regrouping with your team as Team USA starting to get aggressive here.
Yeah, I like that they're trying to do that right now. They still want to try to end this thing. And you take a bit of an awkward trade right there. Keikachu gets a really big pick, but Reels forces Batu off the map, gets rid of 2 total, and Narukato, who was getting harassed in the back, will take care of Zip. So again, back in rough territory here as there is some seriously big ults about to be online for Team USA.
Yeah, I mean, you look at them there. You have the Flux, you have this, you have Zach ulting right now.
Oh my gosh, and Zach doesn't get much, surprisingly. It's nothing from that situation. They do force Keikachu out of the fight, but Reels is being harassed. Unfortunately taken care of as Pulse Bomb does stick to Zach. It's full chaos right now, but to be fair, chaos maybe benefits Team Mexico right now.
I mean, as long as the map's not over, anything benefits Team Mexico here. Batu finding Narukato, and Giraffe going over to the Domina here. And, I mean, you're finding staggering picks out. You're going to be able to reset spawns, but everyone's still, actually, Fern's going to be the only one who does not get them here. So you might see a little bit of a slower Team USA right now, especially without that Kiriko with them, but they're still going to try to play aggressive right now, which I don't blame them.
Down the absolute slice, you kind of have to, honestly. It's hard to take the slow approach on this one as they're getting meteorage for the first time, but they'll be lucky if it gets 20 now as they're going to get rolled over immediately in that situation, and they have double support. It's great. It's not going to matter a thing right now as Zach is trying to catch Vatu, who is on the run, trying to get out of here. Looks like they're going to be able to as Boop trying to track down, but shan't happen.
It's not going to happen, but I mean, if you're Mexico, you got on the 20 meters right there, still down by 100, and you have 3 minutes left to go. You're not out of this one yet, but you need to start, piecing fight wins here together. As Narukato will get cut off here on this off angle, was trying to get the visor to get going here. Not going to be able to do it just yet, but now the Flux out. That visor could be followed.
Yep, Beat gonna keep Rafa alive for an extra second. Unfortunately, that's all it's going to do. And now this could be coming down to the better end. Restrict trying to do their best shoe impression, but shan't be the case. And Vatu, last one trying to touch as Team USA is gonna move on to the semifinals. Mexico, their journey gonna come to an end in the top 6.
I mean, if you're Team Mexico, I don't think there's any reason
your thing's going out.
be disappointed.
For a second there. It's back now.
What I was saying was, if you're Team Mexico, there's no reason to be down about this game. You're going up against a Team USA that has a really good roster there, and a lot of their players that we were kind of questioning of, will they be here, won't they be here? Well, they were here. That's the unfortunate part. Team Mexico, though, still strong. It's top 6. Again, probably not what they were looking for. They're probably hoping for at least top 4, but again, this is not the World Cup team that we saw. You're still looking at a lot of players who are really up and coming or just outside of that World Cup bubble there for him, who put on a hell of a performance here, but Team USA just outclassed them tonight.
Yeah, they truly did. So now they can move on to that top 4. They have a date with Destiny. By that, I mean they have a rematch coming up tomorrow with Team Canada. And for those of you that did not watch that original game, Canada beat USA in a 2-1 victory. So some revenge coming from the good old Americans here, but that's going to be a really fun game tomorrow. But we still have one more game going on today that we're going to take a minute to get set up on. But it's going to be Colombia versus Peru. It's going to be a ton of fun. This is the game that I was definitely extremely excited when I saw it.
Yeah, especially when you look at the two rosters here, especially Colombia's. There are players on this roster that are on that Colombian roster that will be going to Busan here in a couple months. I mean, Temp is here. I believe Super Gomez is also on this roster. And again, those are two of those players that are on the official World Cup team there for Colombia. So them playing here tells you that they are taking this very seriously. Team Peru, though, I mean, Hunter, me and you've been covering a lot of these players down in South American Face. Key is here for Raic, Natho as well. Genji Bree, Detroian, I think I messed that one up horribly. But we've seen a lot of these players in the past. This should be a much, much closer series.
That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hoping is going to be the case. So we'll see what ends up happening. But while I do love to waffle away, it's going to be a quick break as we're just going to take a minute to get everything set up, make sure all the players are going to be good to go for this game right here. But it won't be long at all. We'll keep an eye on everything going on here. And hey, while we're on break, let me make sure I have it pulled up properly. I will. You guys can watch a little. It's not even a preview. You can watch. Jaxatron over here has been working on something very fun recently, and we'll have y'all give it a watch while we wait for this game to come back. So when we come back, we will have Colombia taking on Peru in the quarterfinals of the Copa America.
All right, welcome everyone to the first episode of One More Round, the show where I ask people if they want to play one round of Overwatch. Well, I ask them a round of questions. My first guest is J-Man, DPS player from Grimoire. J-Man, thank you so much for joining me, man. This is, honestly, I'm going to say this. You have been one of my favorite players to watch ever since I started covering Face It.
Wow.
I'm so happy you are my first person to really do this.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah. It is really fun to have you here, but like, I just want to generally talk about Overwatch here a little bit right now, and to get a lay of the land here with how long you've been playing it. Like, when did you get into Overwatch here? Like, was it launch? Was it GOATS era? Was it pandemic era 2020, which I guess is GOATS era, or was it sometime after that?
Well, I actually have been playing. I played Overwatch since launch. I remember I played it on my Xbox. I played the beta actually, and I was like, wow, this game looks like it's gonna be pretty chill. So I remember ever since launch, I've been playing it on console, and then I think it was 2020, like right before COVID. I actually ended up getting my first PC, and that's when I started playing it on PC.
Nice. So
And then at least for competitive-wise, I didn't really play until I started college.
Nice. I mean, hey, I'm kind of with you right there. Started with the beta and kind of just casually played it for a very long time. Never got good like you did. But like when you started taking that first competitive step with Overwatch, like when, like you said, it was around college, but what was like that first thing to let you know, like, oh, I can actually, be really good at this game?
Well, I guess for like, it's a little bit more in depth than that. To start my like playing career, my high school, I was actually fortunate enough to where my high school had a esports team, so that was pretty chill. So the league we were in, like everyone was pretty bad, so it's not like it was really that competitive, but we were able to win it because we had a few like GM players, so it was like we were just gonna win by default. But after that, I went to ASU because that was just my state school, and then I realized that they had an esports team, so I just ended up like, yeah, why not? I did it at my high school, why not do it in college? And then, I don't know if you followed collegiate at all, but I was able to get 4 other teammates that had actually played the game competitively before. Like, I think the biggest names would have been Angelic and Anhu. But we started a team with them, and I was like, wow, okay, these guys actually have hands. I can't be the only player that sucks on this team. So then I started to grind a lot, and then at this time, Anhu was on Shigami. And then, this is kind of how I started. Anhu was like, you should start playing in like open division and stuff like that so you can get better. So Anhu told Aeroplane to get me on their like Shiki Acad team, which is Midori. So that's where I just started playing. And then ever since then, I've just loved it. Just enjoyed it competing.
Nice. What's honestly been like your favorite, since you started competing, what was your favorite kind of competition or favorite era of this?
Right now it's pretty chill because I think this is the best I've ever been. But I gotta say my favorite was honestly near the beginning. There was one tournament, it was like our first collegiate tournament, where we had been beating all the low-end teams, and then the first really good team that we ever played was against UTD. It was like a Ram Cass May or Hanzo May era. But the first like really good team we played was UTD, and we lost to them. And we're like, man, wait, we can actually, like, it was close, but like, man, we actually want to beat them. So it kind of like set a fire in all of us. And that was like, I don't know, that was the time where I was grinding the most, learning the most, and it was actually just so fun to like scrim and get better at the game. And then we actually, in that same tournament, ended up beating UTD in the playoffs, so it was like actually so like rewarding.
Nice.
I think that was like probably my favorite time. Also, it was like I was getting I had just joined this team. I'd been becoming like good friends with all the ASU guys, so it was just a pretty chill time.
Yeah, and like collegiate is such a fun experience, and I mean, like I was not fortunate enough to be on my own collegiate team. That's why I'm a caster.
All right, everybody, welcome back from our quick break after we watched Team USA defeat Team Mexico to go on to the semifinals, where they have a date with Canada tomorrow, but we're worried about this game here today. It's going to be Team Colombia taking on Team Peru, and Dex, much like our last game, this is a rematch of the groups, I should say, the round robin that we had before. What I want to preface in saying is that Peru are the ones that took this game away from what is a very competitive and really good Team Colombia, and Peru showed what they could do big time in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. But it comes down to the same thing we were talking about a little bit before the start of the USA and Mexico game, was who all is going to be here for Colombia. Because Team Peru, you got to give them credit. They only have 6 people on this roster. So there's not going to be a bunch of will they, won't they? You know who's going to most likely be here. Colombia, though, you have some players who are on their World Cup team, who's going to Busan, who's going to South Korea here to play in that final qualifier before the main event right now. Temp and Super Gomez are on this Colombian team right now. Will we see them? I think if we do see them, Hunter, it might be a little bit of a closer series. But if we don't, it might honestly be a repeat of what we saw last time these two teams met. However, 1st to 3 this time around. It was only 1st to 2s when these two teams met before.
Yeah, whole different story. Because again, it's a question of who did you have? Who didn't you have? Who do you have now? It's a question that I can't answer right now. Unfortunately, we're not going to know until we're actually in this thing properly. But again, when you have that kind of flexibility, there's a lot of really good players that have proven a ton of what they've been able to do in the past. Even characters that we've been introduced more recently, like Mixfee, who we got to witness play, super talented. Obviously, we've seen everything that Super Gomez can do. Change is on this roster as well. We saw them play a couple maps earlier on today. There's some amazing players on both of these rosters. I'm excited because this is a game that genuinely can go either way. Neither result would outright surprise me. But I think we're going to be another scenario where it is about getting off to that really good start, because momentum, in terms of what we've seen in the last few games of our lives, momentum has played the big factor.
Yeah, it really has right now. And I mean, we saw it last series with Team USA and Team Mexico. Team USA got off to great starts every map. It took Mexico a little bit to get going. Great to see the series go on hold almost immediately. But still, the momentum is such a big thing. We talk about it a lot when we cover Face It, when we covered World Cup stuff earlier on this year, whether it be show matches, scrimmages, the conference cups. Getting off to that good start is always a good thing to have. You have that momentum early, and it's up to that other team to be able to take it away from you here. So you want to get off to that good start because it gives your team some confidence and maybe starts already getting some second guesses into the minds of the other team, saying, are we playing the right comp right now?
Honestly, that's reasonable when you kind of consider everything into what you want to do. Because again, we talk about how important it is to get off to that good start. And to be fair, I love the idea of throwing something out there and seeing what happens. Trust me, I absolutely love it. But this is one of those scenarios where these teams have to have something cooked up, especially Team Peru, where their options, they know what they have. They know what they're going to do already. There's not a whole lot that can dictate their style difference. But Team Colombia, whole different situation. They have to keep it in consideration because, again, same thing that we just saw earlier with Team USA. Lots of talented players, but they all have their own different styles and their own strengths as well.
Yeah. And again, once we actually get into lobby here and once we get into game, we'll know who's going to be here for Colombia. Like I said, Team Peru, only 6 players. Key, Hermonza, Detroyan, Genji Bree, Faraic, Natho, your only members here. And we're already seeing some swaps early here from Colombia. Temp is in. That's one of the good players there, but you do not. Temp is in, but Super Gomez not in. And I'm trying to figure out who swapped him. I believe it was Blobs that came in for someone right there. But we should be getting going here probably in a couple more minutes. I think we got to go through all the picks and bans still.
Yeah, we do. It might be a hot minute.
But still, I mean, again, if you're Colombia, you have a talented roster. Peru, though, they with this small roster, you know what to expect. So if you can kind of just find the weakness in them, you're going to be able to beat them time after time again. Right now, you only have the one sub with Natho, so it's going to be something that becomes predictable at a time here for Peru. For Peru essentially.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to see because Peru again is one of those teams that again put up big competition against some of these really good teams. Again, they're one of the few teams that were able to beat Team Canada. The only teams to beat Team Canada was them and Costa Rica, the undefeated team. It's been a really good performance from them. They suffered from facing Costa Rica right out the gate in the 1-1 series to get things started, so not enough proper time to see that series really develop. But they have some really good runs. They're able to pull off some really big wins. And now they're in this situation, able to show what they've got again. It's going to be exciting, though, because Colombia, again, they're stacked. They accomplished a lot as well. They suffered a little bit. They did get through. It did come down to some bullhold score where they did manage to get over Team Honduras, who should be talked about a lot more. They had a phenomenal performance, won some really key games, had a really good time, took a map off of Team Canada. I mean, they had a heck of a run that is unfortunately just missed out on getting here.
Yeah, Honduras has been one of those teams as we've watched throughout this entire year so far, Hunter, and we're close to being halfway through it technically with crossing over to July here in a couple of days. That Honduras, the more we saw them, it always seemed like they were getting better and better and better. And stuff like this is exactly what they need to keep on getting better. They have a couple of talented players on that roster that could really carry them throughout a lot of stuff here right now. But I mean, again, we should talk about Peru here for a moment, because for the most part, this roster for Peru is that same roster that almost qualified for the online qualifiers in the Conference Cups. It was so close against Argentina. You have to remember, it was essentially, what was it, a beat by Lep at the time, who saved Argentina there against Peru. I mean, it came down to the final game of that, which is something you could only dream about right there. But getting away from official World Cup stuff, back over to the Copa America. We know what our first map is going to be of our final series of the night. Colombia has decided to take us to New Junk City, where they'll be the first attacker, Hunter.
Okay. It should be interesting to see. We'll obviously get those bans locked in pretty soon, too, and this is where maybe the disadvantage of having less players comes into effect, because the bans can be a lot more targeted if people know what they're looking for, which some of these players have definitely gone up against one another. There's definitely some people on here that we, again, have seen very recently. The biggest example, I mean, we just casted Butcher and Changed about, 3 hours ago in their own game that they had going up against Elements over in South America Face It. And now they're here. We'll see if they end up coming in at all. But when you have a lot of things in front of you, you have Kratos, Temp, Bobby Wasabi hanging in here as well, Super Gomez. There's a lot of talent here that can be thrown in at any time. It is, again, just a question of, hey, who's here, who is not?
Yeah, and I will say this. One tank that we would talk about a lot here, not going to be shown in our first map of the night. No Sigma coming out here, but we didn't see that necessarily be a problem last series between the United States and Mexico. Hell, I think we even saw the Sigma be banned out here, map one, if I remember correctly, and it was just Malga that kind of dominated everything here. So Colombia banning out the Sigma does kind of lend itself back to maybe seeing more of that Malga, maybe something like the Ramatra, if either one of these teams can get going here in our first map.
Yeah, definitely so. Now just waiting for a ban to come through here over on the side of Peru. We'll see what they want to do. But I don't know. There's plenty of options, and I think the most important thing to kind of notice is that there's a lot of safe options to go with. You know the Sigma is gone. Maybe things are going to play a little quicker. Maybe Peru decides, hey, maybe we don't want to play quick, and you bounce on like the Lucio or Juno. But Peru has historically been a team that likes to play fast. They like these big comps where they can go in and make a lot of things happen very quickly. So there is a chance that they opt to go for something inconsequential or something that can force the game to slow down a lot more. You would think of Iski, but again, we've had a support ban, and I honestly, for the life of me, get confused onto whether you can do the double downing of certain roles. Let's assume they can't in a scenario like this. Which they banned Sigma anyway, so not like it particularly matters. They could just ban that out, but with Sigma already gone, you would think that's a sign that Colombia's also not going to be playing slow.
No, and they really shouldn't do that here. I think you want to be playing fast on New Junks City, especially just playing fast on flashpoints in general. I think is always the right way to go here. But I will say this: looks like already some swaps coming in. Genji Bree not going to be starting here for Team Peru. It will be Foraic instead. Kind of what we expected. We know how good of a player Foraic is. I think we've seen Genji one or two times in the past, but I think Foraic is at least the right person to get started here for Team Peru. Nothing yet from Colombia. Still about 3.5 minutes for the lineups to be finalized here. And Hunter, might I remind you that we are whitelisted for this one here. So if you don't have Overwatch open, might be a good time to open it.
I sure do have it open. Sure do, buddy. I'm ready to go. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sitting here watching, seeing if we see any movement from Team Colombia. Temp is still in the starting lineup. I think that's going to be someone, if they are here, it's going to be vitally important for Colombia tonight throughout this entire series, because we know how good of a player Temp is.
Now, Temp has been phenomenally talented. Had an amazing performance with Team Colombia during the World Cup. Again, going to be in Korea in less than 2 months here. We see them play all the time in Faceit League as well. Has had phenomenal performances in the past, and honestly, the fact that we go into this, if we believe that they're going to be in here, it's like, hey, you have an instant threat that you're going to have to deal with if you're Team Peru. They're going to have to put in the effort to dealing with this big issue, because I don't know if you saw that World Cup game that Colombia was able to put on, or any of them for that matter, but a lot of people learned who Temp was on that day, just like a lot of people learned who Elemental Guy was, where it's like, wow, there is a peak that is hard for most players to reach.
Yeah, and I mean, for the most part, I think Temp has been one of those players that's kind of been known to be an incredible player. I think they've just been stuck in Faceit League for a little bit too long. They could definitely be on an OWCS team right now, but I mean, they're on a really good Faceit team right now, so they definitely have a chance through promotion and relegation here at the end of this season coming up to get there. But granted, long season ahead of them there for both those, for Temp and a lot of the other players in North American Masters right now. But still, 90 seconds left to go. Colombia still hasn't made any swaps on their starting roster just yet, but still a lot of time. I mean, I believe we saw Mixfy when you covered Colombia early on, or last week in the one day. They could definitely be someone we see. Super Gomez, it would be interesting to see Super Gomez if they're here. We know how good a player they are. Butcher, I believe, is another player we saw from them. They impressed me a lot when we did.
Yeah, no, a lot. Again, it can't be overstated how much impressive talent there is between all 6 teams that are still competing throughout the weekend. It's phenomenal to see. I'm really happy we get this opportunity to see them in action once more, because we don't always get events like this. And I mean, dude, it's thankful that like through Grupo Senju we do get them, at least a few times a year to have these kind of moments. So we'll have to see what occurs right now, but let me remind you, the winner of this game does have a game against Costa Rica tomorrow, and that's gonna be a tough one. Again, the one team that has yet to lose a game, heck, a team that has only lost 1 map, and they lost that map to your second seeded team, Team Canada. So that is the game that, I mean, to be fair, it's a likelihood that could be a rematch in the grand final.
Yeah, and it would be a really fun rematch in the grand final as well. I think that's what we're hoping for here, is that, I mean, we have a very close grand final. I think the worst thing that could happen is just like a straight stomp, honestly. But we've seen some great play throughout the night here already. Venture going to be our second band coming out here from Team Peru. And an interesting one, because you don't expect to see it, and that's not good.
I just think it's just, I think people are here, and it's just, need to be taken care of properly. It's a good old face it moment. But
yep,
hopefully we'll have everybody connected here pretty soon. We'll be able to get this game properly underway, as we'll have to see what Colombia is going to bring to the table. We can see and confirm the lineups, of course. They are locked in place, at least they should be. And at least in terms of like who you normally have, nothing too surprising. I mean, Kratos and Temp in, and immediately you see that the pressure going on right there, as they do have Natho starting alongside Foraic. That will be interesting. Natho is someone who we got to see like very properly for the first time last season in South America. Face it, on Team Ragnarok, I think it was a phenomenal tour de force. It was one of my DPS standouts for Face It League altogether during that week. Had extremely good performances. I personally expect them to be able to go toe-to-toe with Temp and have to be the one to keep Temp at bay as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be a difficult challenge here for them. But I think Team Peru is going to be able to help them out here a lot. I think Team Peru, maybe a little bit on paper here, might be the better roster at the moment. But still, we talked about that a little bit earlier on tonight with, hey, they look really good on a roster, but you never know what happens when they look really good on paper, but you never know what happens when they get into the game. Series put on hold yet again. Should be quick, though. Should be quick here to get back into the lobby unless we hear otherwise.
Yeah, here's open. Should be taken care of. Face it, just face it things. But either way, this is one of those times where it's a game like this, and I'm happy because we can always say like, yeah, this game can go either way. This is a genuine feeling of this could go either way. But it feels like one of those games that could also happen very quickly due to momentum. Like we know what both these teams are capable of. There's big fight back in scrappy play we get from Team Peru and all these players every single time. But there's dominance that we've seen from this Team Colombia. These players that have gone up against some really game-in teams in the past, very recently as well. And we know the kind of performances they can put out on a very consistent basis. I don't think it's a situation where it's punching up for Team Peru, but it is a scenario where they need to be swinging hard right out the rip.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it a little bit earlier on through all the yapping we've had to do. It's momentum. You want to have that momentum early on. You want to come out of the gate strong, and that's exactly what you need to do here if you're Team Peru, especially when you look at the other side. You have that World Cup team member there for Colombia looking like they're going to be playing here. You want to get off to that good start. Try to get Temp, who, again, has already played a Face-It game tonight, so they're warmed up right now if they are here and ready to go for this series. I mean, you have to be 100% ready to go from the start here if you're Peru. And we're gonna go through the bans really quickly. Again, New Junk City is still our first map. Again, it was the Sigma and the Venture that were banned out early on.
Yeah, so that'll come through. Hopefully this thing gets taken care of very, very quickly so that we can get this game properly underway. Again, it's our last match of the night. We've been busy bees these last few hours, and it's going to be a busy weekend as well, as we got the semifinals happening tomorrow. We can confirm that one game of USA versus Canada, and then whoever wins this game right here. What?
Colombia, Sandra's telling us Colombia chose the wrong captain to make the team changes.
Oh my god. and then the gif afterwards.
Well, I will say this. Based off what we're seeing right now for the lineup, Super Gomez is in.
Yeah, Super Gomez is in. That is what's happening right now. And we know...
It might just still be the wrong people.
It might just be the repicking again and getting it all done and taken care of. I promise we're going to have a game of Overwatch here shortly. I promise, gang. It's going to take a second, but it'll happen.
If you were here earlier tonight, our game started 20 minutes late for South America for Face It, but we did get it in. It did take a moment, though.
Yes, it certainly did. But hey, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, is what it is. Such is life. It happens. But here we are. We're going to be ready to put on this game here very shortly and have a good time as well. This is one of these games where I'm excited. I think whoever wins this first map, I think there's a chance they can simply keep running away with it. I think it's just that kind of game and these kind of players that take momentum and absolutely run with it.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've touched on it a lot already here. Momentum is such an important thing. It's really hard to get away from another team once they have it. However, we have seen teams be able to do that. That's going to be a really good thing. How do you respond for whoever loses the first fight? Whoever loses the first map, do you immediately reactionary ban something out, or do you just kind of keep going and try to do what you think is the right move? It's going to be interesting to see here. What?
Yeah.
Now they know their lineup.
Things are still getting confirmed, and they played. Oh god, it's hilarious times here. Let's keep that a buck. It's been fun, but we want to get this underway here pretty shortly. As I've said many times already, maybe I'll end up saying it more. I don't know. It's just people trying to get things done right the first time. It doesn't work out too well.
Yeah, but it looks like I think unfortunately it's gonna be put on hold here again because I think the client glitched out because the map was selected, but now it still says Colombia is picking map. Okay, no, now it reset themselves. So 3 minutes to pick map again.
Oh Lord, God, I have to make a drive in like 8 hours from now.
Okay, New Junk City was picked. So we're going fast. It should be the Sigma being banned out here by Colombia. They are still the first attacker. That ban is in. Let's see how long it takes Peru. That was quick. Peru put their ban in. Should be the bencher. That was it. But lineups are being finalized. And it does look like once we get the lobby invite, that's when we will know it for sure. Super Gomez, Temp, Blobs, Kratos, and Dead would be Colombia. Actually, nope. Looks like Temp not here, but you do have Super Gomez, which is, I think, still a huge benefit to Colombia.
Yeah, and Mixed in there too.
Yeah, Mixed coming in. We talked about how we saw Mixed new 7 coming in as well for Team Colombia here. Should be a good one. And Mixed, we, like I said, really impressed us when we saw him last week. And I thought, like, hey, they looked really good. They look like someone who understood the situations a lot of the time right now. Oh, Natho.
What did Natho do this time? Oh, no.
He's vroom vroom.
That's beautiful. Oh, man. All right, well, let's get this properly underway, shall we? The game finally is here to start as, yeah, again, Sigma Venture gonna be your bans in this first map to get things going in Dex. Again, we just watched this map very shortly ago. What are you expecting with the lineups that we currently have on display?
I mean, we talked about it in what seemed like forever ago here, but were we going to see Malga? Were we going to see Ramacha? Or were we going to see something else? Looks like both teams are kind of leaning towards the Malga here. Not the biggest surprise. I think the big surprise right now is you're seeing that it is going to be Team Colombia that is playing that Xion as that hit scan here, because you have New 7 coming out on the Reaper, which should really give Key a lot of problems, but you're looking at Natho or Vroom Vroom to be able to try to shut them down on that Cassie. They are going to be a big part of this. The Sim sticking here is actually a little bit of a surprise. Some TP strats might be coming out here now for Peru, and I generally am interested in how that works out for them here.
We're about to find out right now. TP going to be sent through. Everyone goes through immediately. Kratos Sun forced away. Does have a cleanse that has to be used. As everyone's forced back, Victorian is going to be burnt down extremely quickly, though, as you're in a rough scenario if you are Team Peru trying to hang into a 4v5 like this where you have sustainability, but unfortunately, you're still losing body after body.
Yeah, and you're going to have to give this first point here for Colombia, and they did everything right, I think, getting rid of Victorian very early on there. You get rid of the TP, you get rid of the constant, maybe a little bit of spam damage that comes out from that those turrets, and you immediately see them just getting off the sim after one life, going over to the Xion instead. I think I like it a little bit better, but I honestly still think you might just need a Mirror or Reaper here right now if you're Peru. I think Super Gomez on this Malga is going to be a little bit too much, and we already see what New 7 has done to Key throughout the first fight there.
Genuinely so. We'll see how it gets started, though. Ultimate is not particularly close. We do have rushes that are getting right around the corner from being available. We'll see if we get pressure even put onto this point, because you see them get pushed away. Blobs does fall over. He has plenty of care, as we see out the rip. Natho has gotten rid of 2, hoping to get rid of even more here, as they're eventually going to help take down New 7, as they're going to claim the point at 75%.
Yeah, but it's still one-fight territory here for Colombia. But again, we talked about momentum. You want to get a fight like that here, especially if you're Peru after losing that first fight very much handily. I think the swaps there really didn't end up working out, but I think Key just played a little bit of a better fight there on that Malga. Got the charger, got a huge stun. Natho found that first pick, but you look at it already. Deadeye, Kitsune Rush, Cage, B, not that far away here for Peru. On the other side, though, they're about to have all 5 ultimates ready to go. The Kitsune Rush, Alpha Bull.
Deadeye here ready to go, and big stun to hit down New 7, and now everyone's going to run in here. Down barrier ready to go from both sides, as it comes out a little too late to be able to help out the Cassidy, but now you're back into a 4v4. New 7 still quite a whiles away, as the point staying in control of Team Peru, as both Malgus have now used a cardiac overdrive, and Key is trying to get out of here desperately.
Super Gomez actually gonna be able to find Hermonza right there, who TP'd to Key to try to keep him alive, and that's gonna come back and cost them heavily. Key now needs to be huge, but Natha coming back into the fray, gonna be able to find one, but I don't think it's gonna be enough here as Columbia does retake the point. Still some ultimates in their back pocket, and Hunter, I mean, yeah, you have Natha right there, but I think losing to Torian might just signal the end of this point here for them.
Yeah, you're gonna see a touch coming through from Furic, but that's the extent of what's gonna happen here. Maybe Furic gets one more. Would love to, but unfortunately, yeah, it's just gonna get booked away. Doesn't matter. They're gonna try to get out of here alive, but Key might not be as fortunate. Is gonna try. Looks like they will be able to, as they need to keep running.
They need to keep running, but I think they're actually very fortunate. I believe we're going, is it to the Ducks next? But no, you get the trade. However, finding Super Gomez out is huge. You're okay losing your DPS line right now if you're Peru. You got rid of Super Gomez. You're going to be able to take a lot of space on point just because of that.
Yep, now you got some good ultimate on display. Double Sansuriku Spree going to be online right here. Got to be careful as New 7 already takes care of business on Hermosa. And now, without your Curie there, it's rough because now Kratos Sun is already so far ahead on Rush. There's no way they're going to be even going into the next fight.
Oh, they're not going to be even at all here. And again, you look over at Columbia right now. You're about to have all 5 of your ultimates. They're cycling through these ultimates at the same pace right now, Hunter, which is something you rarely see. Natha, though, with the Deadeye, not going to be able to find anything with it.
Yep, can't hit the stun over on New 7 either. So now, we're putting pressure over on the point. Satsburg is reused in the backline as New 7 is going to clear. Bodies out. It's the double use of the DPS ultimates, but honestly, you don't hate it because guess what? Team Peru did the exact same thing.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunate there for Team Peru. And look at the ult advantage, the slight ult advantage that Columbia has right now. They could use those ultimates early on and secure themselves this point pretty easily right now, but you know they're going to hold on to it for a brief moment, and everything's going to kind of be just mirroring each other here throughout this fight right now. But 75% and counting, you need to get going now if you're Peru. You don't have anything online. You're trying to play it slow here just to build up to at least one ultimate. You have the cage, now you have the Kitsune.
You get one valuable target side there. It's going to use the other way as well as Super Gomez struggling to hang on beat there in time for it. It's so close to having it online, but oh boy, it's not going to work out as they're going to be wiped away and they lose out on their beat.
Trade for trade, not what you want to see right there if you're Peru. And I understand why Fourier used the beat right there. They were hoping that they would get it off just in time to keep everybody alive, but instead it comes back to bite them. Don't have anyone alive. It's only them and Detorian who are the only ones that got affected by that beat. And now Fourier getting off the Lucio here, going over to the Mizuki instead. Hunter, me and you have seen this Mizuki in the past couple days really be a big problem to Malgas who are charging in. If you hit them with that tether, it does stop them dead in their tracks and leaves that Malga hyper vulnerable, which is exactly what they need to do here right now with Super Gomez, who is really starting to leave a big mark in this map.
Definitely is starting to right now. Third and potential final point underway here. Peru trying to make their way back in. They've had some really good key moments thus far, but they need to get that consistency up. Winning this fight right here would definitely contribute toward it. Freya being over on this Mizuki can definitely contribute to this act right here. Chain down Super Gomez would make it a lot easier for Key to track down, to have a little bit more of that advantage. But Key is the one who's struggling to stay alive in the first place.
Yeah, a lot of pressure coming out here right now from Columbia.
No.
And say goodbye to those two right there, and what was looking like a pretty favorable maybe fight there for Peru early on fades away rather quickly, Hunter, as Columbia comes in and just establishes the tone. And again, look at all the ultimates here for Columbia. Gonna have all 5 ready to go, and the only thing may be ready for the other side will be that spree.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, Satsuriku Spree is good. That's a great ult. But you have things like the cleanse to be able to kind of just keep it from having max value, especially the fact that you're going to have a beat if you're mixed V, to be able to counteract it. You see Blobs in the back, is going to try to go hit the back with the spree. Finding a good opportunity is going to be able to get rid of one, and while you can't follow up further, the fight is already done. Key is going to have to eat this death here momentarily, and the rest of the squad needs to either get out or reset now.
Final fight territory, Natho fall. Oh, those two falling right there. It's actually kind of costly right there because they're now going to be in this mode where they have to rush back to point to even get a touch. Yeah, you'll have all 5 ultimates if you're able to get the fight going here for Peru, but you're still going to have to go through a cage, which I think misses. So you at least dodged 1 bullet right now, but you still have a couple more you have to deal with.
Yeah, they're gonna run around. It's looking like they are gonna be able to commit the point touch coming through here.
Touch.
Wait, they go. He just doesn't. He just doesn't do it. Just doesn't hit the trigger. They don't touch at all. They could have. They definitely could have touched.
Oh my god, yeah, they should have. They should have touched. They really should have touched. Oh, that's a tough way to lose a map. Granted, I don't think they're gonna end up winning the map anyway, but you don't want to lose it like that, honestly. For Peru, I mean, you had your opportunities. You looked good at some instances, but Colombia definitely had their number throughout it all. And just the plays coming out there from the tank, from the DPS lines, were just kind of outshining what we're seeing there from Peru. I mean, Natha was doing a decent amount there, but I mean, you're looking for a little bit more there from Peru. Super Gomez was one of those players that we had a question mark on. Were they going to be here or are they not going to be here? Same thing with Temp. Temp's not here, but Super Gomez is, and you see a big difference in it right there for Colombia. Now Peru, their first map selection of the night, and they're going to be bringing us to an escort map. Again, Dorado, Route 66, and Watchpoint are the three options.
Definitely some flexibility here. If you wanted to go full dive, you can. If you want to go down a poke route, definitely choices as well. I mean, we saw that Route 66 and how well it worked out for Team USA and how quickly both sides ended up capping that first point. But I don't know. To be fair, if you want to fall more in the style of what we usually see from Team Peru and a lot of its players in the world, I think Gibraltar might be the route they personally go down. It's very open, and you don't have the situation where you don't have to deal with Temp being on things like that Sojourn to deal with. That's what I think, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're right about the map. It will be watch point. Peru will be attacking first, and Peru's also banning out the Ayari here right now, Hunter, which, again, very map, I think, dependent pick ban here, but this also could be a protection ban right now. Get rid of the Ayari. Maybe you think Colombia will play it here. You still leave the Kiri, you still leave the Brig, you still leave the Ana here for a dive map. Having a dive backline does work out very well for you here. Mizuki's still on the table. We saw Peru swap to that very late last time. We didn't necessarily see a Sanctuary come out, but still, that Mizuki's finding a lot of value right now. Colombia did make the ban very quickly. Now we're just waiting for lineups to be finalized.
Yeah, let's see what they opt to go with in a scenario like this.
Eva.
But yeah, again, just reliable ban. The jack of all trades that you just don't want to deal with on a map like Gibraltar.
Yeah, I mean, you get rid of one big dive target here. And I mean, if you're Colombia, this could really lean towards the fact that Colombia wants to play that traditional dive backline right now with that Brigana here. You get rid of the Diva that could eat up the Bionade, that could eat up just any of the sleep darts, any of the normal shots that the Ana's able to throw out here. I know I'm talking about this a lot and probably won't see either one of them coming into this one because just my luck, but still, you're getting rid of the Diva. You're probably trying to either force a Winston, maybe even a Doomfist, Wrecking Ball, Hazard are options right now if you still want to play dive, but you might just be trying to force out another Malga Mirror or potentially even a Sigma Mirror.
Potentially so. So we'll see how things end up trucking on forward as we can get ready for Gibraltar. And at least for the moment, Super Gomez is currently sitting on that Winston. And with the fact that they're on defense, it's going to stay that way. We finally get some classic Winston gaming going on here as key. We'll see what choice end up having to come through here, but I imagine Doomfist not too likely to stay.
The Doomfist might actually stay. I'm gonna bait myself into believing it here. I'll take the bait right now. And Foraic on the Widow is I was gonna say is a little bit interesting, especially with Torian coming out on the my bad. Torian on the Widow was interesting, especially with Foraic showing us a Mercy. I mean, a charge shot on that would have been fun to see, but now you're starting to see more swaps come out here. We're gonna see Cat Bastion actually from Team Peru. The Malga is gonna be the interesting one right now because it can be dove on very, very easily, and this is a competition now for Colombia that can kind of punish it. But if you have the Torian and Foray kind of flying around, taking a lot of that attention away from Key, you're going to open up much more space for Key to find that value on this Malga.
Yeah, and now Super Gomez can't play super aggressive either. It's going to be really hard to, even with just a Bastion there, but the fact that you can't get away from a Cat Bastion too easily, you have to back out, you have to play very carefully. And the fact that you're on the Malga as well means the Malga is going to play point. Someone's got to eventually drop down. To this point, nobody has yet.
And we're getting to the point where someone's going to have to right now. But I think you're looking at a Peru lineup that might be able to cap this first point very easily. Losing the Torian, not what you want to see, but that point is still moving, Hunter.
Yeah, Key is just big chilling. Someone's gonna touch, right? I mean, they're gonna. No, I mean that's gonna be that. That might be the quickest take I've seen in a long time.
It all worked out. I mean, the Cap Ashen did enough right there to really force a lot of attention away, and you just couldn't have the Winston go down to the point on their own. And look, Super Gomez already saying, okay, they're not playing dive. We're just gonna basically mirror everything. You do not have the cat here. You have Mixfy going over to the Ana instead, which I do not hate. Blobs as well going over to the Ashe. So you're definitely trying to see a little bit more pokey playstyle come out here for Colombia, but they need to be able to open up some doors. They need to be able to shut down Foraic or Detorian as they're playing around in the sky.
Definitely so. We'll see how they go right now. Kitsune Rush available. Kratos Sun right around the corner for having their own. But as things are, you're waiting for the opportunity because, again, it's another scenario where you're having so much success from this. Even with New 7 matching right now and Notorian taking a sleep, it's not going to matter too much right now as, man, Peru really have yet to be stopped. Keep falling would be a great way to be able to do so, but as things are right now, Kitsune Rush from both sides. Super Gomez is in there as Key is going to have to try to get out of here alive. Finds a really good partial stop over on the Super Gomez. As this point, it's looking really good right now for Team Peru, who, as they're going to try to drop for touches, they're going to be able to get one, but Dex not going to last for too long here as, yeah, honestly, I don't mind this. You secure the point by doing this.
You secure the point and another 5.5 minute time bank here for Peru. And again, we talk about it here. What's going to be the response to the team that loses that first map? In Peru, you lost that first map on a way that you would love to forget. And right now, Hunter, with how you're playing, it definitely looks like you have completely forgotten how you lost map number 1 here. Catnap Deadeye ready to go here, so you might see a Fly Noon, and yeah, it looks like they're getting set up for that right now.
Yeah, they are, and honestly, I love it. Why not? No way it gets a ton of people though, right? They're gonna go behind, and oh, big time cleanse come through. You can't really do anything about that, unfortunately. You are gonna stay carried, you stay alive, but you're making even more room. New 7 gets so low as the Bob is hanging about, and it looks like for the first time we are gonna see a proper stop to Team Peru.
For the moment, they're gonna fall back, but still, and now you're gonna see the Foraic just kind of carrying that though away to a high ground. Foraic now needs a little bit of help here from their counterpart Hamonza, but I mean, still, Key has very rarely gone off this card throughout this entire round. But Cage and Nano ready to go here for Colombia. If you're looking for a fight to kind of win and be able to stabilize yourself here, this would be that fight.
Nano's here. Cage fight also available. As you see on the run, is going to be able to avoid the stomp, but Key is just playing Dead by Daylight. The 80 strafe is nice, but unfortunately, Kitsune Rush is after the death of your Malga. You're going to need something. You're going to need it quick as New 7 completely backs out of there. Notorian trying to stay alive. Big double nade, though, to force everybody out.
And now this is what I was that's what I was saying going into that fight there, Hunter. If you were Colombia, that was the fight you desperately needed just to be able to slow everything down. The Kiri's taking out of the fight early on right now, but look, the time back can start to be whittled down right now. You're finding fight victories here if you're Colombia. And it looks like you might just be able to find Key as Super Gomez now invests the cage, and Key also invests their cage.
Yeah, but dies immediately afterwards. Super Gomez still hanging around with plenty of health. It's not going to matter. And now this is where Key is actually going to swap to the Zarya now.
I don't hate it. I really don't hate it here. You need a little bit more constant pressure, but unless you're giving the bubble to either Detorian or Foraic, you're going to be giving it to yourself, which is not the worst thing because you already see Key invest one bubble on themselves, but I don't believe I saw maybe that many people shoot them when that bubble was active.
True. The UAC bubble is being used. Once we're trying to find a good stomp, but it's in the middle of nowhere right now. It's going to get deleted. It's a reasonable trade getting rid of the cat, but honestly, the cat might be the least important part of the current equation as they're going to keep trucking on forward.
Yeah, the cat is honestly the least important part of anything right now for the side of Peru. You can get that cat back very quickly. They're already back right now. I mean, Fly Noon is online, and it looks like that's what they're going to be using here. Deadeye's out from both sides right now.
Whoa.
As New 7 not going to be able to outshoot Natha.
Yep, you take a reasonable trade, though, and by reasonable, I mean extremely reasonable, as Nano on a Super Gomez gets rid of 2, and Key, sorry, bud, not much you can do here. Super Gomez gets 3 to finish that one off, but now there's just a Bob sitting by, and there's going to be 3 online for Peru here momentarily.
Yeah, but still, if you're Colombia, you're happy with how this point has gone so far. Yes. 5.5 minutes for Peru to come into it. You've already whittled it down to 2 right now, and there's definitely going to be more time taken off. That Bob could just be used as a stalling tool here. For Ake, though, I want to see this catnap come out, but you have to put it onto the right person. Key, though, getting low very early on, but you're going to lose Mixby early.
Sure. Rough scenario at hand, and now it's Peru trying to truck forward, trying to get this map done and over with. You see New 7 who's just completely separated from the squad, but it's still alive because they can't commit fully. And now in this 3v3, they're going to fall back again. And this is really rough because it feels like they had a big chance right there to pull it out.
And another 30 seconds gone, Hunter. And by the time that everyone comes back out, it's going to be another minute gone. What was a great start for Peru has just become a great hold here. The response, again, we talked about the momentum, so important. Colombia lost it all, has gotten it back. Now they need that one fight to stabilize, and look at what is coming up here. You have a Cage, a Kitsune, a Deadeye, a Nano. Because of all the swaps that Peru just made, you're gonna have a grab. That legitimately might be the last ult you see from Peru this entire round.
Yep, and Key has grab. Maybe you consider holding it, as you do lose Cage fight now after that fight. Kitsune Rush is available as well, and you know there's nothing to respond to this properly without the grab coming through. Grabs come through. It's going to throw a lot of people in there. Kitsune Rush gets canceled out, but the Nano on the New 7, it's still out there, and with Key down, unfortunately, I was going to say this exchange goes through, but no, Super Gomez falls as well.
Not the worst case there, but I mean, look at all the ultimates that you saw invested in that fight from Colombia. What I was saying was they were in a great spot with their ultimates, but they dumped them all in that one fight there, and the cart is still moving here for Peru, and they're coming up to ultimates, but losing your Kitsune Rush with 15 seconds is not what you want to see.
Not at all. And now you're hoping maybe you get a Bob online, but it doesn't even look like you're going to get that either. Everyone else is on the run. He is running solo as they're trying to keep each other up, and Victorian's on the run, has a Bob ready. All you can do is throw it out as we go from 5.5 minutes to not even completing the map.
And if you're Colombia, you are ecstatic about that. Again, you go back to how that first point went, Key just on the cart, not even being really contested for the most part there, as Detorian and Fourier kind of just flew around on the Cap Bastion. I mean, and the second point was almost the exact same rinse and repeat right there. Yeah, there was granted about a fight there that I wouldn't say necessarily went Colombia's way, but it slowed down Peru for a brief moment. 5.5 minutes going to any final point, Hunter. I mean, again, it goes back to Team Mexico USA that we saw a little bit earlier tonight. 5.5 minutes for them after capping that first point on Route 66 incredibly fast, whittled away. Fight after fight after fight after fight as the U.S. found something that shut Mexico down in their tracks, and that's exactly what Colombia did to Peru right there. They found something that forced swaps to come out there from Peru, and Peru never necessarily looked the same there. Cap Bastion, though, going to be sticking around this time for Peru on the defense. Offensive side, though, for Colombia, again, maybe other than Super Gomez on this Mauga, and Mixie on the Lucio, I don't necessarily see any of the other two heroes sticking here other than for maybe one shot and a pullback in.
It would be rather hilarious if it hit, though. I'll be honest. I love to see the Widow gameplay. Why not? To be fair, it's honestly fine. This might stick around longer than just the one, with the fact that if they are expecting the Cat Bastion to stick around, if you want a proper hit scan on there where New 7 doesn't have to have eyes to the sky every single time, it's a very legitimate option.
Grapple shot coming out there from Blobs. Not going to be able to find the shot. But looks like they're going to stick with the Widow here and just try to play angles and really try to force that high ground pressure that you're already seeing here from Peru to be just that or just none, as Key gets taken out very early.
Yeah, they tried having the strategy where Key was on the ground and everyone else would play up top and care, but unfortunately you force Key under so quickly that no one can get down in time to be able to help out. It's unfortunate, but this is textbook right now for Team Colombia.
And again, Colombia, they looked great towards the end of the last round, already forcing that Suzu out early, as Key now the only one poking their head out and already has to use that cardiac overdrive just to keep themselves alive.
Yeah, New 7 waiting for the right opportunity right now as Cat Bastion coming through. The Cat gets extremely low as trades not going good for Peru right now, as you get rid of Super Gomez, but Key just is not going to have the sustain to stick in here for too much longer.
I mean, there are health packs around, but you're going to need a lot of help here. And Key not even going to be able to escape. New 7. They've been on a tear to start this round here, and now if you're Peru, all that momentum you had at the start of the last round, I think it's all but fade away here as Colombia, as New 7 again on the tear, continues just ripping through.
Yes, really difficult to have to deal with at this stage right now. Now, again, similar time bank, 5 minutes moving forward right now. They're looking great. Sights are out from Blobs right now, and it basically means the cat can't really get in there traditionally.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because they can't necessarily fly around, but, I mean, Blobs could find their head right there. Not going to be able to do that, but, again, this is a moment right now where if you're Peru, same thing for Colombia, you want to be able to find that one fight when to stabilize you here, and you want to be able to do it in the hangar because this is a very difficult part of the map to push through.
Yeah, Blobs is currently on the enemy's backline trying to shoot away. Trying to find anybody to go to right now. And to be fair, it's kind of working anyway as you're going to see, oh no, there's nothing you can do here. Somehow doesn't get hit with it as it's gonna, again, be Team Colombia trucking on forward. And we were talking about that impressive time bank before. It's looking like you might want to have that one that is just as impressive, but they're fighting back. He will fall. The question is, can you get back up here in time?
And Foray now trying to find their way out. Catnap, though, coming on the Super Gomez, and they're just going to pull him straight into their team. But there's not going to be a touch. I mean, you were going for a nice play right there, but you gave up the touch. And, yeah, Hunter, I mean, not 5.5 minutes, but you'll take 5:17.
It's a small price to pay. 13 seconds for what has still been an incredible run as they're going to pull everybody in. Kaka Sanctuary is going to cut it off, so Super Gomez is protected very efficiently so. And now you've burned a ton of ultimates. Cart moving once more. And now the ult economy outside of, hey, one little lonely Natho is reset.
Yeah, and you're going to need that fight here again. This was the moment where Colombia last round was able to stabilize here. You need that desperately here. Natho needs to be the one that finds it. But Detroitian finding Blobs out there, you'll gladly take that one.
Oh, 100% you will. And now New 7 does have a Deadeye ready to go, but remember, no cat existing to be able to do a fly noon scenario. Such won't happen. So you just have to kind of keep your eyes to the sky if that cat bastion does get too aggressive, and you use that Deadeye to force them out and get a ton of room off of that.
Blobs, though, I mean, I don't think we've necessarily seen Blob's name pop up in the kill feed for a kill just yet, but that Widow is still providing a lot of pressure here at the moment. And the ultimate's coming online right now for Colombia. Same thing could be said here for Peru. Cage out from Key. They need to be able to go to Super Gomez, and they're going to be able to do that.
Yep, gonna be a quick one right there. Everyone backs out immediately so they can take a quick reset, but Blobs not gonna be so lucky as slightly longer on the reset, and you've got a good start, but you do have to keep this up.
I think if you're Blobs, you just use the visor once you poke your head around the corner here, and then if you die, you make the swap. I don't think this Widow necessarily finds the value anymore, and you're allowing Peru to build up into a good spot ultimate-wise. You're gonna have 4 ready to go this fight around, which could be used to really just hold on to this defensive hold here as the Deadeye gets canceled out.
Rough. And you see Fourier trying to pull away, does pull out of your own cage. Don't see that every single day right now as Victorian trying to find somebody, but the trades are a little awkward right now with Key gone. You're gonna be able to rush on forward. Kitsune Rush is available. I would say you need to hold it, but do you even have a touch?
You use the Kitsune Rush right there, and yeah, Key is going to be your touch. I think the worst thing, though, is the catnap. It pulled away Super Gomez, who I think was invested to that cage, and now, if you're Peru, I think you just lost this map. Not because of it, but you lost the map still, Colombia. Again, Hunter, you talk about how those first 2 points went for Peru on their attack, and you tell me that Colombia comes back and wins this, I would just ask, how did Peru collapse?
I mean, the best thing you could say right now is they kind of got a taste of their own medicine, didn't they? That's what it really felt like. And it's not just due to the fact that they have this similar time banks and everything. It's the level of aggression and the fact that they forced Peru to kind of play their style. Because to start things out, Peru forced Colombia into a really uncomfortable position on their original attack. Those first 2 points, basically, the point almost never got touched by Colombia, and then eventually swaps had to come through to smaller degrees, but it ended up working out because they were able to play a safer style because they were finally able to stabilize somewhere, and you saw how well that worked out. Unfortunately, Peru it's the issue that they couldn't make that same adjustment, unfortunately.
Yeah, and again, I mean, they made swaps. They worked out a little bit here and there. Blob sticking on the Widowmaker throughout that entire last round was a big surprise to me. They started getting going a little bit towards the end, which again, I was still saying they need to make the swap. I really do think they need to make the swap, but hey, it worked out for them in the end. So maybe I'm the person who just doesn't know. But right now, Peru has their final map selection of the night right now, and we'll be going back over to the push map. Remember, USA and Mexico went to New Queen Street. I would not be surprised to be going to Canada here again, but Peru definitely feels like a team that would rather go to like Runasapi over New Queen Street.
I think Runasapi would give them all the things they would want to run because they want to do Mauga, Cat Bash, and stuff. I think it's a really good map for it. However, obviously bans can be put in place to take it out of the equation. I think it was one of the most successful parts of that entire attack. It caught Colombia completely off guard, and they were never able to bounce back until that final corner of third. But is it going to work now that it's not a surprise? And does Colombia think it'll work? And do they ban that in such a way to do so? Because at that point, you would just ban the cat.
Yeah, and hey, nailed it right there. That we are going to Rusapi. Peru will be the first attacker, and they're actually banning out the Malga here. So a little bit of a surprise. I thought Key was doing really good last round on it, but I think Super Gomez has just kind of shown that they can match Key throughout this entire one right now, and it looks like Colombia's ban came in very quickly as well, so we should be heading into potentially our final map of the night here very shortly. And I mean, if you're Peru, you're putting a lot here on Runasapi, but again, a good start, much like what we saw last time around for them on Watchpoint on their attack. If they can get that start here again, Hunter, it's going to be one that is going to be very, very difficult for them to drop.
Yeah, extremely difficult. I'll be happy to see how they end up adjusting with everything here, because again, we have seen in many instances how quick things can go on a map like Runasapi, like push in general, as that's like a ban. How are we feeling?
It's the cat. I mean, I think it's the best. Like, here's the thing. Cat has been banned out both map 3s here. USA Mexico, if you were here for that game, I had a much different reaction to it because we never saw the cat. We didn't see any inkling that the cat bastion would be played at all throughout that entire USA Mexico series. This time around, though, we've seen the cat. And I mean, Foraic has looked good on the cat. Same thing there with, I forget who they were flying around, but they were doing everything they needed to do to really open up the doors there on that Cat Bastion. I mean, the Cat Bastion was taking enough attention that the Malga was just allowed to push the card for free. So you get rid of it here, force everything to be on the ground now again. And if you're Colombia, you're thinking like, yeah, that's all we need to do to win here.
If you're Colombia, I think you are just thinking that way, because you can treat this very simplistically. This is not a situation where you need to overthink it, try complicated things. You have proven that what you are doing is working for you. There's no reason to stray away from that, do anything differently. Now, obviously, if things start out badly, obviously make your adjustments. Do what you have to do, adjust like they did back on Gibraltar. They proved they could do it once. We'll see if they can do it again here to book their date with Costa Rica tomorrow. But we're ready for our third and potential final map of the entire night, and it has been a long one, but we'll see if this is Peru's final stop.
Yeah, and right now it's going to be really interesting to see what Peru comes out with. Malga's banned out, Cat's banned out as well, so what is it going to be? I feel like we've realistically only seen the Malga here from Peru throughout the entire night so far, and I'm looking at it. It's going to be the Sigma. And looking over at the other side, though, Super Gomez at least teasing us with the Rhine, but New 7 on that May is going to be interesting to see here.
I could see most of this stick game, and I'm fine if it doesn't, but if you know you're going to something like a Sigma, oh boy, that Rhine can run you down if you are not careful. That is how it goes.
And Detroit showing us the sim here again. It is going to stick. And remember, they came out on the sim back on New Junk City, and it really did not work for them here. Granted, the Rhine on the other side means that sim will find a little bit more value here, being able to build up her beam for essentially free, because as long as they're shooting the beam, it does not, use any ammo.
Yeah, the TP, everyone's in a room, and right now, if I'm a Rhine, I am salivating at the thought of everybody in a room. 5-man, oh my god. this could be an instant shatter right now. Super Gomez needs to be careful how to play this, though. It's going to go in. Is going to get hindered away. Is in a bad spot right now. Is eventually going to get taken down, but it's looking like it is, yeah, indeed, going to be Team Colombia starting strong. And Super Gomez may fall over, but Super Gomez is going to have a shatter, and a freeze is going to be online too. Do you think Peru even has an inkling this is going to be coming?
I have to imagine, yeah. You have to really imagine that they know that there's going to be Ultimate Online. They took the risk with that play, and I mean, I think Colombia played it perfectly. They patiently waited for them to think for Peru to think they took the bait right there and played it perfectly. Now look, they're rotating around the backside, Blizzard and that Shatter Online and Hunter. Like I said, I don't think they're going to be ready for it.
Oh,
nice.
What a... Wow. Couldn't have read that better. The freeze does come out, though, but... Oh, man, it's Natho to clean things up. As you see, Super Gomez forced into the corner. Is actually hanging around for a little bit longer. Will eventually fall. And I'm going to be so honest, that could not have gone better for Peru, because if they lose that fight right there, this could have been quick.
Oh yeah, if they lose that fight right there, that's checkpoint in under 2 minutes. Maybe one of the fastest checkpoints we've ever seen, realistically there. But still, look at what Peru's gonna have now. You have Kitsune, you have Flux, you have Deadeye. You're gonna have Sanctuary at some point in this fight as well. The only thing that you could see come out from Colombia is that Kitsune Rusher might be able to win them a fight here. But you look at where that barrier is. You now need to win this fight if you're Colombia, just to make sure you don't give the point away for free.
Yeah, TP taken away, so not able to do the TP high noon like was originally planned, but Kitsune Rush is available. Critter Sun is going to throw it directly back in. Need to get some care on the Super Gomez as lead taken from Peru, and with the Kekai Sanctuary, I think checkpoint's got to be given away.
Yeah, checkpoint given up there, and I mean, look at what you got out of that fight there for Colombia. At the cost of losing nobody, 4 ultimates, you'll gladly take that.
Yeah, Satsuri is be ready to go, but it's the beat that's going to be thrown in. Lots of bodies getting low. Detorian is struggling to hang on right here as Blob's going to be forced out, getting really low. Still has the ult ready. Likely not needing to pull it, though, as they don't realize hanging around there is the Cassidy. They're still in this, and in fact, I don't know. We're in an awkward 2v2 right now.
Yeah, but Natho's not going to get the forward spawns, and Hormonza and Foraic need to find a way to run away as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah, and they're waiting to see if they need help right now, but the team is getting back. TP was able to get them back quickly as Freeze comes through. Key is going to get caught up in it. TP comes through, and oh, that is brutal. No, 7.
Mixie's boop accidentally booped Key out of the way of Super Gomez's charge, and I mean, because of that slight mistake right there, Peru now has a fighting chance here. Not only get the forward spawns back, but to add on to their lead, and they're going to be able to do that here.
Yep, second shatter here to go. They're going to TP around as Ping going to come back. Super Gomez is held in place, though, and used the shatter, too. Lost it.
You're 0 for 2. You're 2 for 2 for getting your ults canceled. I think it might be time to give up the run, and I think Super Gomez agrees with that as well. Really unfortunate plays. Really unfortunate. I mean, like, but if you're Peru, you needed those plays. You desperately need something to go your way, and everything so far, Hunter, has been going your way. 5 minutes, or over 5 minutes still left, so there is time for Colombia to come back. We've already seen them do it once, but that 5-minute time bank isn't going to be a difference this time around.
Yep, Blob just hanging around the back, trying to find some more fights. Oh man, hits so many with the motorcycle there, and that's going to be able to clean this fight up after Kitsune Rush was used, but still, everyone going to die over near the point as we will see everybody get the forward spawns. But if you're Team Peru, with how things have gone, 108 meters, that's got to feel pretty good.
It's got to feel pretty good, but you're probably thinking about what happened last map at this point. You got off to a really good start, a big lead, and then it never seemed to work again after that. Yeah, you're in that 50-50 Overwatch range here, Hunter, but you don't want to do that. You want to avoid it. Super Gomez and New 7 going to use both their abilities to keep themselves alive, but Super Gomez now needs a lot of help knowing that the Nemesis form is gone.
Donbell, Kekai Sanctuary going to be used right here. Blobs goes down. No Satsuriku Spree to be used in this scenario, and now things potentially look rough. It's a perfectly timed theme for Mixby to make sure Super Gomez stays up through all of that, and I think that's going to secure a fight win coming through, but it's a sloppy fight regardless. It's a big back and forth that still hasn't been settled. He is honestly keeping this team rocking and rolling. And with that creation on the Kratos-san, they're going to pull this fight out.
Yeah, and before I get talking about that fight, thank you for the huge raid, BPL. Welcome.
Wait, oh, hi, BPL.
Yeah, welcome to the Copa America right now. You're watching Colombia take on Peru here. And Peru, again, looking good. You need that fight win if you're Peru. You cannot give up space there for free. You cannot give up that momentum. We've been harping on that all series long here. Peru got off to a great start, but we've seen them collapse in the past. The last map, they definitely had to collapse, but already the Suzu being invested there. Another Deadeye, though, out.
Yeah, this Freeze is going to catch on to a whopping 4 people. They're going to be cleaned up. Key, the last one hanging around for Rick there as well, but again, they die on the point. Everybody catches the same rotation of respawn, so again, they all come back together close.
But some swaps coming out here now. Trying going over to this Mei. Again, I think you need a Mei here, especially with how Super Gomez is playing. They're playing a little bit far up, meaning you could punish them here with those ice walls. But you look at the other side, Annihilation and this Spree online here for Blob. That could definitely be used here in combo. But that ice wall right there sections Super Gomez away and forces out a lot of utility early on there from Colombia.
Yep, Super Gomez in a rough area. Gets solo fucked. It misses. You still take an awkward trade. Again, it's not the end of the world right now, especially with New 7 separated as they are, is going to have to hide away. And unfortunately, I don't think anyone can help New 7, who's maybe delaying the inevitable. Unless Blob decides to let the Satsuki Spree go, unfortunately, that is not going to be the case.
And this time bank is getting better and better for Peru and worse for Colombia. But still, look at the ultimates that Colombia is building up here. They didn't invest anything in that last fight. They're about to have all 5 ready to go right now, Hunter. And if you're Peru, you're looking to at least get the forward spawns back here, just to at least give you a chance right now to be able to continue being as aggressive. And I think because of a little bit of a misplay there from Super Gomez, you're gonna get the forward spawns here for free. Can you get the bot back to the barrier?
See this Annihilation as Satsuki Spree was tried. Blobs, though, meets a very quick end right there. We're back into a 4v4. Super Gomez could easily end this fight with this all right now. The question is it going to be used? Is it going to be worthwhile to pull this? And the answer is yeah, we're going for it. And hey, Key, nothing you can do there. The rest of the team gonna follow as well. But this time, the bot is stolen early, so Key, Dentorian, Frick, no forward spawns for them.
Yeah, the only people who are up there right now is Natho and Hermonza. They're gonna have to fall back here very quickly, and this should be the checkpoint going over to Colombia. 2 minutes left on the time bank here, Hunter, but you did get them to use 3 ultimates right there. If you are Peru, granted, you also used a couple ultimates yourself right there, the Consumer Rush and the Sanctuary, but Blizzard, Flux, Deadeye, all online. And Hunter, if you ask me, if you're Peru, you kind of hold on to those for final fight.
Yep. Good wall attempt there from Victorian as they will end up falling down. Forward spawns activated and late death likely to come here for a couple of bodies. And yeah, that's what's going to happen. They keep running back and take the time to reset because you're in 1-fight territory already and you've got great ultimates, but you have to play carefully.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Peru, I said hold the ults for the final fight. You have to treat this like the final fight.
Yeah.
Look at all the space that you're already seeing me taking here right now. A nice ice wall coming out there from New 7. Someone is going to have to get going here right now. The Flux Deadeye coming out right now.
Yeah, B eventually going to come out. Freezes there. And yeah, Super Gomez, sorry, buddy. Nothing you can do there to stop that from happening. So now good territory for Peru. They burned some good ultimates, but they get some later picks, and now they're back in 2-fight territory. And hopefully for them, they can keep this moving forward.
Here's the thing, if you can slow play this, if you're Peru here, you're going to be in a better spot, but you cannot really afford to do that. You want to get the forward spawns reset, which you're going to be able to do. And honestly, just try to take this bot as far away as you can here. It's actually going to be Colombia giving up a lot of space here right now and allowing Foray to build up to that Sanctuary, because I really think Colombia is trying to build up to their Kitsune Rush and to their Spree.
Yep, and Key getting really low. Forward spawns did reactivate, and now they can just keep stealing the bot. You can lose this fight. It's not the biggest issue. It's another big rock here from Key, who has woken up so much here.
Colombia has completely misplayed this. They just allowed essentially a map flip for free, and now you have to invest. This is a little bit of a misplay from Colombia that's going to cost them. At least we're going to another map right now because of it.
Yeah, Blob's last one standing right there. You see a little bit of stalling from Mixfeed, but it's honestly doing a really good stall impression as wall going to come through. Flux going to be used to prevent the initial touch. It does come through. Nu7 needs to get back in time as there is a freeze ready to go. I think it might potentially get chucked as this game, Dex, not quite over yet, and this thing is going to prolong a bit longer.
This is not good, honestly, for Peru. I mean, you look at what Colombia has here. Beat Blizzard, the Spree. You have that Sanctuary. You have your own Blizzard. The Blizzard from Victoria needs to be essentially game-winning right now. I mean, it was looking great right there for Peru. I don't know how the touch came in, but it happened. And now you get the forward spawns there, so you're playing it. However, look at where Peru's getting set up right now, Hunter. They're getting set up around that first checkpoint. You're essentially putting yourself in the one-fight territory here. You have to win this fight, or else this map will go the way of Colombia.
Last chance for Peru here as here throw everything in the kitchen sink at this fight right here. Beat's going to come alive. The freeze doesn't catch on to anybody from either side, but Mixby and Super Gomez caught in Mixby fighting for their very life, still hanging about, and now it's Freyek and Blobs. The only ultimates left over, Kekai Sanctuary, Satsuriku Spree ready to go, and there's so much patience from both these squads not to just let it loose immediately here as everyone needs to stay over on the point, but Nu7's gone. Blobs needs to find something, but Satsuriku Spree gets absolutely diddly nothing as it's falling one after another. Peru, it looked tough there for a moment, but they will pull it out and keep the series going.
Yeah, now the reverse sweep starts for Peru here. Final map selection of the night for them, and they get a victory. A little bit too close for comfort. I will say that. A little bit too close for comfort there at the end. They might have almost fumbled it back into the hands of Colombia, but they were able to shut it down right there. Great play all around from everyone. And this has kind of been like it's been the progression for Peru. You go back to the first map of the night there on New Junk City, and yeah, Peru's able to keep a lot of the points close, but it just seemed like Colombia knew what they needed to do. Peru got off to a great start on Watch Point Gibraltar, but kind of fell apart towards the end. They now finally had a great start and a great finish. They put it all together. Now, I think we might be in for a couple more maps here, Hunter. We're at least guaranteed one more here, as Colombia is going to be picking our escort map here. Circuit Royale, Havana, and Rialto are on the table.
There's a few routes you can realistically go down. My brain tells me it's probably going to be Circuit Royale, but it's a situation where do you opt? Because, again, the Sigma was really massive. I think he had, easily their best round so far of the entire day. I don't think that's questionable, quite honestly. But do you want to go and take a Sigma 1v1 instead in the situation if you're Team Colombia? I think you could potentially get away with it, but what does your ban end up being? Because, again, there's a lot of double-edged sword scenarios. Do you go after that support line potentially? Because there was a lot of musical play going on in there.
Well, I will say this. We're heading the circuit, so probably the pokiest of the three maps that were there. So Sigma definitely finds a lot of value here right now. You banned out the Malga last time, though. Actually, no. It was Peru who banned out the Malga. This could be another Malga ban coming out here right now, but instead, they're still looking at that Cat Bastion that we saw a little bit as a problem. It'll be Colombia banning out the Bastion this time around. And honestly, if you're Peru now, that Sigma is still there. You could preemptively ban out, say, something like a Widow, something we've seen Blobs play a little bit earlier on in the series. Iari, I'm pretty sure you've already banned out Iari here, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. I might be remembering USA Mexico from a little bit earlier tonight. But you have options right now here. Sigma might honestly be the best one, but I think that opens up the door for that Malga v Malga mirror again. But without you being able to ban out the Malga again, it might still happen anyway.
It genuinely might happen anyway. Honestly, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world if we're kind of taking everything into consideration in what they could be very willing to ban. Because again, sometimes I default to the style of they might just get rid of something that could just generally be annoying. That's why you see things like the Diva get banned out, Lucio just to get rid of general speed and force things like Juno or Misaki instead to get pulled out. I wouldn't blame them if they go down the route of something that is like considered safe instead of going for that big thing that they just, hey, we think this one particular thing could, take us down. With the style that we've seen them play, I think they should have confidence going into a map like this, but they need to keep their foot on the trigger and keep letting that aggressive style they showed be shown off even more.
Well, it is Peru's ban is in. Lineups being finalized right now, and again, we haven't seen Genji breathe the entire night for Peru. I don't think this is the map you bring him in on unless they are, even though their name is Genji, unless they're the greatest shot in the world. That might be the only reason you bring him in here, because, I mean, the Bastion got banned out. So Widow, Ashe, Freya, Hanzo, Cassidy, all on the Soj, all on the table here for this map. But what swaps, if any, do we see from Colombia? Because they have actually been making swaps almost every map here. It might be one players, it might be two players. But, I mean, Mixie, New 7, Kratos, looks like no swaps. Our second ban, though, Hunter, gonna be the Ramatra from Peru here. So, again, sticking with the tank line here, I like it. I really do. Because that's what we kind of saw Colombia gravitate towards the end of that map there. And I think it's the right move. I really do. But do we see the Malgas? Do we see Sigmas? We're going to figure that out here pretty soon.
Sure. And it's going to be a big, I think a big boon for them to be able to not have the Ramatra, because it is something you don't want to have to deal with. Because Malga, when we kind of compare it to a Ramatra, both of them have high sustainability, but I think Ramatra is the one that is tougher to deal with in the overall spectrum. Because that Annihilation is so difficult to deal with if you don't have peel, or if you're in a situation where you can't get out of a fight. But as things stand, Malgas don't exist. It's double Sigma to get things started here instead.
Double Sigma, but again, this is going to be the thing I talked about here. What were we against the DPS players play? And right now, from both sides, we're being shown double hit scan, which has become a normal thing on this map. And essentially, with both teams playing Iari, you have triple hit scan. I mean, you are trying to play super poke at the moment, essentially. The only thing you're really missing is Ana, so you would have another sniper on both sides here. But instead, both teams going to, I think, do the smart thing, stick with the Kiriko. It's going to be really interesting, though, because I have to imagine if you're new 7, you're just going to fire a sonar arrow out and then maybe make a swap here. But no, you're sticking with it. This is going to be fun to see, Hunter.
This is going to be a lot of fun. This has a potential to be a big pop-off map. The Torian as well. It's going to be lovely to see what they could do over on the Hanzo. Now seeing the Hanzo for the first time today as well. Plus, you have the combos that you can possibly throw together with that dragon as well. It's awesome to see, but I'm waiting to see that big headshot to get things started, either from Blaus, maybe from New 7. It could come through from anybody, quite frankly.
Foraic now kind of caught out, needs a little bit of help here from the rest of their team to be able to get out of the sticky situation. But again, you see this a lot on this map where the defensive team really allows the cart to be pushed up to right now, but you normally have that flex CPS player. You don't have that right now, so you're going to have to give up more and more space, hoping you find the right angle.
Definitely hoping so, as Aaron Natho does get a little low, but Blobs is taking a slightly more aggressive angle. It's really tough for anybody whose name isn't Key to be playing on this, this angle a little more aggressively. But now ults are becoming a factor very quickly. As you see, so close, Key is going to have a Flux ready to go, and you might try to go immediately for this over on a Super Gomez if you find the opportunity. You find the opportunity, not the person you wanted to catch, a pick nonetheless here, as now it's thrown the other way, catches onto multiple bodies in the back, gets rid of 2, and this first point is going to be going quickly as Colombia this time around starting with some momentum.
Yeah, and again, we haven't seen Colombia necessarily be the first attacker in a lot of these situations. You go back to New Donk City, both of them are essentially attacking. Watchpoint and Gibraltar, it was Peru that got off to an incredible start. And then, I mean, it was responding right back with a good start from Colombia. And last map, again, Colombia got off to a slow start. Peru was able to kind of get them up there. So the fact that Colombia decided to give themselves first attack here works out for their benefit right now. But now you're still walking into a lot of ultimates both sides here. You're going to have 4 ready to go for Peru. Dragons are coming out here from the Torian. Gonna be able to buy a little bit of space here, but not necessarily a lot.
Yep, Natho gonna be taking care of business right out the rip, and Natho helping clean up here as the Captive Son is gonna force New 7 to a bit of an awkward position. Natho gets 3 overall to finish that one out, and now Dex, I don't have enough fingers to count how many times teams get held in this very position right here.
There's this map, and then there's Shimbali Monastery, where the second point is directly an uphill push and becomes very difficult for the offensive team to get back into position here. But granted, look at what Colombia has here. They have ultimates to play with. However, one of them's a visor, And the other one is a Kitsune Rush, which is going uphill, not necessarily where you want to use it. You're looking at Mixfy and probably New 7 to be able to get ultimates that really kind of move Peru around here. But a Flux Online for Key could be used here at a moment's notice. And speaking of that moment,
yeah, needs to find the right body. Finds the perfect body, and there's nothing you can Super Gomez going. Maybe you do find a way, I don't know. But you throw everything in the kitchen sink in there. Dragon thrown in as well. Gets rid of the healing pylon. That's about it. New 7 does find a worthy pick, but not going to do a whole lot here.
New 7's still alive, though. I mean, if they can find one more before eventually they get taken out, it would be good. But, I mean, you see the chase coming down here from Peru.
Oh,
and
no.
Why was Hermonza the one that said, yeah, I got this, guys? Because now,
Oh!
and because of that one mistake, look what's happening here. You put yourself from being in a really good spot to now you're playing essentially for point defense here, because a Kitsune Rush, a Flux online right now for Colombia. Yeah, you have a Kitsune Rush and a Dragon coming up here for Peru, but you desperately needed not to die that early on, or really that late into a fight.
Yep, and now double Kitsune Rush plagues this fight. Super Gomez has a shot to change this around, but Blub's immediately taken out with the headshot. Super Gomez rocked out of it. Oh, that's brutal.
Third ultimate in the last 2 maps for Super Gomez that has just been straight up canceled out by Key. Key, we haven't talked about them enough here, has been a difference maker for the Peru team ever since they started to make the turn last map, and that cancel right there is huge. And now look, again, you're seeing Peru take all this space. They have the ultimates to play with it as well. I mean, New 7 has Dragons to at least buy them a little bit of space to split up Peru at a moment, but you need something else to follow it up, and that is exactly what Peru has on their side.
Wow.
Actually, never mind.
Yeah, there is nothing he could have done there. Super Gomez is now cleaning up shop. 2 down. Unfortunately, these 3 characters, none of them's a touch, and if I'm them, I'm just backing out of here.
Goes caster curse right there, essentially. I'm kind of surprised that Torian did not throw out their dragons just to maybe try to get some people off the cart, allow Key to some time to potentially come back in, especially with that Flux online. You never know what happens, but they hold on to it, and now, I mean, it looks like it's just already kind of Peru just sacrificing this fight right here, looking as a lost one and just feeding into Colombia. Not what you were looking for here, but still 2.5 minutes on this time bank right now. Not the worst spot here for Peru, especially with 4 ultimates online.
I'm pretty sure I just witnessed Super Gomez hit the 360 accretion onto Break. I'll have that burned into my memory until the day I die. But as this fight keeps going, Bot is going to keep moving on forward without any real contention to the fight going on up here, as you're going to pull in 2 people. You're going to lose at least 1. Key is down to basically no health, will fall as well. Another fight over extremely quickly.
Quickly need to get to somewhere where you will not die if you're still alive here for Peru, and you're going to be able to do that. But look, 4 ultimates online for them. You have 3 and almost 4 coming online for the other side, so you need to be able to find something here quickly if you're Peru, just to be able to stabilize yourself here and be able to take some space back, because that's been working for you so far. The Cat of the Sun's out, but so is Nathan.
Yep, and you catch a Cat of the Sun right over on the Blob, so he's doing a good job hiding. Gets taken out eventually, but the damage may potentially have already been done as a Dragon ready to go. It's going to catch another 2, but it's another rock coming through. A bit of a taste of your own medicine as they're going to try to keep touching, but all they can do is stack run 1 at a time. It's 1:25 on the clock here for Team Colombia, and they are in prime position to end this thing here and now.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. I felt like I went from necessarily praising how Peru was playing here to one slight mistake and everything falls apart for them. I mean, they were doing good on that second point hold. I think, I mean, even though they were able to stabilize after Hermonza kind of pushed up, trying to chase down Blobs, I believe it was. Or actually, no, they chased down New 7 and lost that 1v1. Like, they were able to stabilize there, but then it was a nice dragon and nice dragon combo there from Super Gomez. Hits the accretion. The dragon comes out there from New 7, gets her to Key, and there was just really no response. Again, goes back to the whole thing of like, why did Troyan, in my opinion, not throw out the dragons there? Just try to get some members off the cart, maybe allow Key some time to come back, have that Flux online. But it's now a thing of what if that we will never know the answer to here. And if you're Peru, I mean, you still did a good job. Minute 25 is not the worst, not the best either, but this point, Hunter, you know what I always say about this situation. get rid of the time bank here. You have one goal. Just complete the map.
Yeah, and the DPS having a conversation right now. Blobs and Mixfy deciding what to go to. And we talked about it earlier. I've talked about it a lot throughout the day, but the first time I'm going to see it today at all, it's going to be the Emre coming out here. So we'll see if the Emre can still find value in June of 2026.
I mean, no, it's not the conversation of does he find the value. It's just the conversation of there's probably better options here right now, and you're really looking at it here for this reason right now. The grenades that you're seeing there from Blobs, they're able to get a decent amount of damage and land a grenade. You should be able to find them, but nice ice wall coming out there for Detroit. Gets rid of Super Gomez, and didn't even talk about the May here. And Key, oh my goodness.
That Key is just cleaning house, gets a third as well, and sorry, no getting away from that. Natho finishes that up. You put 3 on this, and already, I mean, that's as good of a first fight as you can have here.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, you're still gonna have one more engagement here if you're Colombia, which you know that if you're Peru, but again, you look at where this cart already is. If you're Peru, you cannot afford to lose a fight right now. You give up so much space, so much momentum, and again, momentum has been a big talking point for us throughout this entire series.
Oh yes, it has, and now Super Gomez being kept alive. Key hit with accretion, but still has plenty of care. The Sigmas are struggling to stay alive, but Formosa going down, that bodes really well for Team Colombia because Key has lost all that sustain, will eventually fall over. So now for this moment, Colombia has found a foothold to put themselves into, and we've seen in the past that can work out extremely well for them.
And it's a long walk back now for Peru, which is what you do not want to see. Again, you cannot afford to have these kind of long walks back to the cart. Granted, the cart is slowly falling back to them, but it only still helps Colombia here right now. New 7 has a Dragon online, not that far away. Flux not that far away from either of our Sigmas. But you seeing the support ultimates coming online right now for Peru, you might kind of wait a little bit here and get those both built up and then go in, especially that Orbital Ray or that rally, honestly, for Ferraic might just be enough to really get you a fight victory here.
Yeah, Blobs is caught out early, though. Ferraic goes for it, works up big time. Freeze is going to catch on the Super Gomez, who's going to fall over as well. So eventually, Team Peru is going to get it, keep this one rocking and rolling. They still have some really healthy ultimates coming up. It is going to be 9 ultimates online soon, so this could be a potential ult dump scenario coming out if things go the wrong direction.
Yeah, get ready to start counting right now. But trying finding Blobs out at least slows down the override protocol from being built up for them. But Grant still gonna be ready to go by the next time there's a full engagement. The Dragon out, gonna at least force the ice block out from Torion. Dragon though responds from Natho.
Yeah, Flux here online gets accretion again, and Super Gomez can't stop it. He doesn't have accretion ready to go, and now with New 7 down, there's not much you can really do here. Super Gomez is trying to chill out, but there is no chill from Team Peru. They are keeping the aggression on. They are letting nobody get out of here, as they're even going to best the ult that's going to force them to peel out. But instead, they're going to double down here and try to stay in this one. Next, this is so aggressive from both sides. This fight could be super defining here, as this rally is messing up Super Gomez. And Dex, I am afraid, I think it might all fall apart from here.
8 ults used in that fight. Blobs was the only one who did not invest in ultimate right there, and Detroit actually built up to their ultimate in that fight. So we could have seen 10 ultimates. Natho as well. Look at them. Could have built up to another dragon, and now you're starting to see the swaps come out here from Colombia. Granted, the comp they were running would have worked perfectly if it was a mirror. But I think the Tori on this May has been too much of a problem. New 7 has to match it here right now.
We'll see how this fight goes up top as you see the immediate peel come through, back over towards the point. They don't necessarily need to take a fight up there. All this is considered as Natho barely gets out alive. But now it's an awkward spot of to where you're trying to play this. You have to try to get in as Dragon thrown in. Super Gomez gets extremely low, gets hit with a rock in a hard play scenario, as Peru are in such brilliant territory right now as Blobs make it 1, but this car is still trucking on forward.
Yeah, trucking on forward here, but you lose Key. The biggest biggest mistake right there for Team Peru this entire round. Losing Key, you're going to keep going, but you're going to have to disengage. You just do not have the manpower, especially without Key here. That Flux is vitally important, but look at the ultimates now for both sides. Blizzard, you still have this override protocol online for Blobs. They're holding on to it for the right moment, Hunter, and they are trying to find it here. They might need to use it very soon, though, because Orbital Ray, Flux, put it online for the other side here for Peru. And really, if you're Peru, you want to win this. You want to win this map in this fight.
Yeah. Flux going to be coming through, catches on to at least one. Super Gomez down early, and now Nate, though, bit of an awkward position right now. Would love to keep on moving forward as Blob is being chased down. Gets out alive just barely as the freeze comes through from Torian. Again, doesn't catch on to anybody, but again, New 7, awkward spot as Blob is going to try to play hero right here. Gets rocked in midair again.
It doesn't cancel it, at least. There's that saving grace, but it really does affect how much time value you get from it here. And look, full support ultimates coming out from Peru right now.
Yeah, they're going all in on this fight right now. As you're going to go up, Super Gomez is down, and Kratos' son is so close to this rally. He's going to get it online, but it might be too little too late as a Dragon ready to go, but it's not going to be necessary. Natho with 2 big headshots, as they are going to have the advantage by just under a minute.
Hey, but again, like I said, you don't care about the time bank if you're Peru, but you're happy with that. You're incredibly happy. You make up for those slight mistakes you had on the defensive side. You complete the map, give yourself the defense first time around here so you know what you have to do on your attacking round. You absolutely love what you were able to do that round if you're Peru. And again, we've seen this from them throughout the night here, especially when you go back and watch. If you go back and watch Point Gibraltar, if you just join the stream, or if you're watching this later on Hunter's YouTube channel, like, you saw how aggressively Peru was playing when they were really getting stuff going there on Point Gibraltar, and they brought that back here. They could not take their foot off the gas pedal, because if they took it off for a brief moment, they would give all that momentum, all that space, and all that confidence, I feel like, back to Colombia here. And Colombia started second-guess themselves there. Blobs held on that override protocol for over 4 minutes, Hunter. They had that ready to go for a couple of the last fights on that second point. They used it in the last fight of the third point.
Right. And as you can see right now, a little sneakiness happening here from Team Peru. They're all hanging around inside. We'll see if they can do anything with this, because I don't know how much you can take advantage of the fact that you play close with this comp. And immediately, New 7's curious and sniffs it out pretty quickly.
And now, I mean, if you're Peru, you need to find something here quickly, and you find the one pick. That's exactly what you needed.
Yeah, but he cannot go down, or else this hold will be done in that very moment. There's nothing you can do any further. But Nate, though, who has been hot fire the last several minutes, is keeping it going.
And right now, you give up a little bit of space here. Start playing back in the corner where you normally play if you're Peru. Right move for them. But you need to find that first pick here again, and you're starting to play aggressively, which is what you need to do.
110% right now. Torian ends up going down, and now the rest of Team Peru is starting to suffer a little bit. But the right side is, while they are going to fall here, they burn this first corner away. They realize, hey, most is still here. But now, because of that little stall and you get everyone together, you can set up for this next corner coming up here.
Here's the unfortunate thing, though. Because of how good of a fight that was for Colombia, you have Rally. You have Rally soon. You're not that far away from Flux. He and Super Gomez kind of on the same pace here. So are Foraic and Kratos. Actually, as I look at it more, it's not that big of a deal that you lost that fight, honestly, if you're Peru here. Other than the fact you're giving up a lot of space right now, and you cannot afford, again, to lose someone first, as the ice walls are already out.
And New 7 was one of the closest to the ultimate, and now Super Gomez needs this and needs this right now. Gets rallied further, is Flux. What can you do? The answer is absolutely nothing, as you get the better of your brick counterpart, but now you need to sustain long enough to take down Kratos-san, who's become the pseudo tank, but now all this damage is being popped through. Kratos touches for a single moment in time, cause it to go further. Freeze on the point, as well as there's nothing you can do, and that is a great hold there for Team Peru.
And Yeah, I mean, exactly what you were looking for right there. You gave up a little bit of space for the one-loss team fight, but you got what you needed, and you can be really happy about that. And look at where the cart is right now, just past the bridge, not that far past it. And with 2 minutes on the time bank here, Hunter, what's Colombia going to do? Are they going to play close? Are they going to play back? Give up a little bit of space here, because if they give up that corner and play back around the bridge, one fight is all it's going to be here that Peru needs to force a map 5. That's going to be what they need. So I think if you're Colombia, you almost kind of have to play in that room where we saw Peru get started. And look at what Super Gomez is bringing out here. The Mauga, which could work out incredibly well for them here. It could also backfire on them almost immediately, especially with Detroian still on the May, Key still on the Mauga, which we have seen become a big counter. Key still on the Sigma, which has become a big counter to the Mauga here just with the accretion. You're going to need to play it almost perfectly, and you see them getting set up in that small room just like Peru was.
And Peru have to be expecting this. Like, you can't go into this thinking, hey, they're not going to do something silly to us. Oh, yes, they will. And yes, they are going to try. But I think Peru should immediately sent this out as they don't even bother. They immediately get out of there as well.
They get out of there for the brief moment, but I feel like they might wait for the initial poke to go in and then poke themselves back into that small room. But no, they're going to play this first corner. I think it's the right thing to do, especially with both teams having Maze. You want to be able to get a nice ice wall off. You section Key away from the rest of their team.
Yeah. Key, though, is going to be able to stay alive in droves, by the way. Now it's a rough spot for New 7, who's already down. And you're in a situation where, because of where the card has progressed, you can't really get out of here, and this was a gamble that came through, and it's a gamble that, for Blobs, who is way in the back, I don't know if you can stay alive in here, and in fact, you are not.
You're not, but I mean, you now kind of left Key on their own for a brief moment. Super Gomez just kind of falling back here. You're going to see one last rush come out here from them, but they're going to need a lot of follow-up on it. I thought the accretion, they may have used that one a little bit too early there.
Yeah, I'm going to try to burn away Nathan. It gets really low, but now, directly in the face, needs to find a big stomp. Is going to chase down Nato. Unfortunately, it's a gamble that does not work out. Team Peru, they were down in the dumps a couple of maps ago, but right now they're cleaning up Colombia. They're pressing on forward. And Dex, they are going to be forcing a 5th and final map.
And what a comeback this has been for Peru here. However, Hunter, this is going to be a fun final map because, well, the map order has kind of been in reverse for what we're normally used to. Control will be our final map of the night. Busan, Lijiang, Samoa are your options, but I mean, Peru is, we've talked about, Peru did not necessarily look out of it on the first couple maps. I mean, you can go back to New Junk City where a terrible way to lose, essentially, but they kept every point close. Then Walchport and Gibraltar got off to an incredible start, kind of fell apart towards the end, and Colombia was able to punish them for that. But these last 2 maps, Peru has finally put it all together. They figured out what they need to do, and Colombia, they have not been able to respond. They have not been able to adapt just yet so far. And now, a winner-take-all map number 5 on a map or on a game type that has no ties in it. Colombia has a difficult decision to make here.
Yeah, it's a little rough. And remember, taking into consideration, the Cat and the Bastion have both been banned out. That is going to be in play no matter what happens from here on out.
What a shock.
But the thing, what a shock. But to be fair, after that map, I question how much you even go to it. It's such an unbelievable performance from Team Peru here that I feel confident with wherever they are going to have to play. I imagine Lijiang Tower is the likely choice just because it's Lijiang.
Yeah, that's why I said what a shock.
Oh, okay. That adds up a little bit.
Yeah, but this ban coming out from Colombia is going to be really interesting to see here because they've been going after support players and DPS players in their bans. Do they go after a tank here? I kind of think you have to. Is it the Sigma? Is it the Mauga? Do you get rid of the May? I think we've been seeing Detroian really find a lot here. The Mizuki.
Wow. To be fair,
I mean, yeah, they've been playing it, but they've been playing the Mizuki here a little bit, but it really makes me believe that you're seeing Colombia really want to lean into that Mauga play style. You get rid of the Mizuki, which is a huge counter to the Mauga at the moment with the tether. you only really have to deal with the Sigma at that point, which if you're Columbia, I think you're saying we can deal with a Sigma.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Mitsuki, I kind of get it. You look back at the scenario we had back over on Runasapi, where that was kind of like one of the big things that I think helped them come back in that situation. Kakai Sanctuary was used in counter response to a lot of tank ultimates, helped a ton. Absolutely loved it. Now we're in a situation where you don't have that anymore. And as we saw from last map, it's not a be-all and end-all. We know Peru doesn't need the Mizuki, but when you're going to go to a map where there's a lot of closed-in fights like that, especially when you're on point, you kind of want something like that, I can't lie. So the question is, what becomes the alternative? Do we go back to just flexing Kiri Lucio instead? And the question is, does that start to play back into Colombia's favor at all?
Well, you also look at what we saw for the majority of last map. Granted, very map specific there. We saw a lot of Brig, saw a decent amount of Yari, and then it became Juno. I mean, you could just go away from the Kiri Lucio here, play something like the Juno and the Brig. We've seen it work on this map in the past. Peru, though, has put in their ban. They left the tank open, but I don't remember what tanks Peru's banned, honestly. Here, they could also just straight up ban a DPS player. DPS hero, which what will it be? That ban is in. It's Reaper, which again, Hunter, everything is screaming at us that it is going to be Mauga at this point. You have just left the door wide open to get rid of two of the strongest. You've left the door wide open because of these bans, two really good bans to Mauga, to play the Mauga here.
Yeah, and it screams Mauga. And it's gonna be insane to see how it turns out, because we saw, I think, a big shakeup last map with how many people kind of changed to different characters. Because again, this is not a map where you're gonna see Widow or Hanzo or things to that effect. The Sigma, honestly, probably gets dropped by both sides too. You could. It would be a choice, for sure.
You could. It's called quick play.
It is,
but
called
you could.
Quick play.
But I mean, right now, I think we're gonna be put on hold here because one player could not get into the lobby, so put onto a quick hold. Have to do everything here again. Yo, thank you so much for staying up late with us here. This started all the way back at 9 tonight. 9. It is almost Saturday morning. It will be Saturday morning by the time this map ends. And I'll be going to bed to wake up in 5 hours, and Hunter, you'll be going to bed to wake up in 4.
It's more like 6, thankfully. But it's
still
still not
looks like
great.
they got in.
Great. Well, either way, good reality for us. You cannot tie this map. You can try as hard as you want. It's not happening. So this is the last map of the night. It's going to come down to this big one between Peru and Colombia. The winner's got a date with Destiny tomorrow against Costa Rica.
Technically, if you just never cap the point, I guess the map goes on forever.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I don't think the players want to be stuck in this map forever either. But let's see what the two teams are thinking of here. Key sticking with the Sigma here, but like I said, everything that we saw there, you got rid of the Reaper, you got rid of the Mizuki. It really did seem like the Mauga was gonna be the tank of choice here. But look at what we're seeing now from Peru. That Brig Juno. Like I said, this could be a map where you see a lot of different stuff, but Foraic, especially with Natho being on that Bastion, the cat could come out here. It really could. Will we see it, though? It doesn't look like we're seeing it just yet. And no, instead, I actually kind of like this for Peru. If Natho gets set up and allow Key to take all the space with that shield, they could really put Super Gomez into a spot where they cannot charge in and they have to play around corners and angles.
The problem is they did not get White Room first, and that puts them with this comp at an extreme disadvantage because you can't force things out into the open either. You have to eventually take over White Room again, as they're kind of transitioning to right now. But the thing is, Colombia's not going to be in the mood to go and face them in there either. And with this being the case, he has to slip around to even try to touch the point. Can't even do so. So now you have to go in, hope you find somebody off of this big form. And unfortunately, right now, they have not done much since getting in here.
now they really have it. Now they're playing in really tough angles, and it's going to be 4A falling here first. And honestly, you might see some swaps come out here from this Peru squad early on, because I just don't necessarily think that Bastion's going to work out, and 4A on this Brig is going to need a lot more help here. But, I mean, look at Natho, not that far away from the artillery at the moment, so they're at least going to keep it for that, and not that far away from a Flux or an Orbital as well. But, dude, when you look at Columbia, the Blizzard not that far, Kitsune not that far, and you're going to have the overclock almost ready instantly once Peru decides to stick their head inside the building.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult to deal with. I mean, Blobs, who's honestly maybe been on the quieter side, but honestly had such an amazing start. It's had some really good moments, and as I say that, Natho takes care of business really quickly, matching that Sojourn, and now this is your best opportunity so far as Flux going to come out. And, I mean, to be fair, basically forces Super Gomez into their own demise as you're going to pull, get 2 with this. Last one standing over on the point as Nick's going to stall a little bit longer, get it to a crispy 65%, but ultimates galore for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have all 5 ultimates ready to go here. If you're Columbia, you're not necessarily mad about that loss. You got an ultimate out from the other side, which is going to be very important. Nathan makes a swap, and now an Ice Wall, get a trap key inside, and Torian immediately responds to their own Blizzard.
It's such a good wall, and unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to make enough of a difference. It's a 4v5 already. You're going to use that. It's going to force, yeah, eventually them to commit. Both support ultimates, by the way. For Ig, I don't know if you decide to opt into this fight into a 4v5. The answer is yeah, we're going to go for it. And Key is already taking care of business over on the Blobs, but them being pulled to the cage fight might have been worst case scenario as Poirier down. He's trying to hang in there, and they're doing so by the skin of their teeth, but eventually this should come to an end as you eventually fall on over. Torian is not going to be able to stall any further, so at the end of the day, it falls in the favor, but it burns almost everything that both sides had.
Blobs, though, has the overclock, and so on Natho. He has another Flux here, so you're actually in a good opportunity here for Peru to come back in and really find some stuff early on, but they have to invest into it. That's going to be the problem. Do they invest early on, or do they try to find that first pick? Because that's what really helped them last time they're in this position, but it does look like it's going to be Columbia giving up a lot of space. Overclock out from Blobs. Is Natho going to respond?
Yeah, they're trying to run down Key, and now there's what you can do. You have to go in. It's all you had. Natho has to pull off the miracle shot right here. We'd love to get rid of at least one and set up some kind of opportunity. Does get the one. That's all, though, as the overtime does activate Key. And for Egg trying to run back. It's the chase of a century, but a boop is going to cut that dream short. It is now map point here for Team Columbia once more, but I feel like we've said that quite a lot today.
Well, we've said it 2 times at least here. A serious point at least 2 times throughout the night right now for Columbia. But what is going to be Peru's response here? Are they going to make swaps? Are they going to stick with this here? I think if you stick with what you're playing, you have maybe 2 lives before you have 2 fights before you have to truly decide. And no, they're just deciding it right now. Key going over to a Zarya instead here. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like the swap there, because we talk about back about 6 months ago, Hunter, with the bubble popper comps. Normally you see the Bastion, but Malga is just essentially a Bastion here in tank form, and they can melt through those bubbles quickly. And yeah, you're gonna get charged up very fast here if you're Key, but you won't have any bubbles. That's gonna be the big thing. So you're gonna have to be playing around corners more.
Yeah, they will get on the point first, but it can only do so much when you're going to be low on health this quickly. You are a Zarya, but you're already getting good charge in there as well, so it's not a bad scenario, but you have to eventually find a way to collapse, so use the wall to try to force bodies out. You're going to see Super Gomez be able to touch this point, but no, actually does flip come through, but with Key getting forced back already. Off the edge, too. Yeah, this is going to be a really quick flip back.
And, I mean, get up to Troyan for stalling it out here for a little bit. You're at least gonna get up to 13%. Nope, 12. Apparently I get it wrong. But you're not gonna make any swaps. I think you kind of made your bed with this competition right now if you're Peru. And I don't blame them. The Zarya could really work here, but the biggest thing is with the Zarya now, you now need to kind of focus on everyone else besides Super Gomez. Leave Super Gomez to be the last one alive and hope that you have numbers, but you already do not have that right now.
Yeah, and he is in such a bad position right now. It's just going to be run down into the corner. And he's lucky to still be standing, quite honestly. It's astounding that Key is still alive, but I don't think we're going to be talking about that one for long, as this plan just already is not working.
You have grab, though, coming up, so you're not going to make the swap here. You're not going to go up that much of an ultimate, because you do have a big lead, a significant lead over Super Gomez and really over Mixby as well with that beat. So you do have a necessarily ultimate that you could really fight with on its own, but you still look at what Columbia has here. Blizzard, Overclock, Kitsune Rush. It's just Columbia in a much better spot right now, and I feel like we're starting to see those same mistakes that we were seeing Peru make back in map 1, maybe the map that I thought they've looked the worst on so far.
Yeah, and then they make their way back over to the point. It's an aggressive push right here, but they're being hit from both sides. That's the big thing. Freeze is going to come through. You grab on top of that as well. It doesn't find much of anything, though, unfortunately. We're back into a 3v3 where Key, tons of care in the world and tons of damage too, is eventually going to be able to finish things off. At least should be able to finish things off, as you still see people hanging back, getting back.
Oh my goodness!
The point lost the beat.
Oh my goodness, the Ajax!
Off the map. No way, dude.
Oh
And he
my god,
swaps
I
too.
had the angle for that.
Oh, I can't wait for that later. That's going up on clips tomorrow.
I'm not streaming. So there's no way, like, you could go back and get the angle that I had there. But now look, he makes a swap over to the Malga of their own. Cage, though, out from Super Gomez, but he actually just straight up runs out of it.
Yeah, does get away, and now is going to be able to stay alive a little while longer. Hermosa down early, though. And Super Gomez goes in really deep. May regret that in a second, as we're back into a 2v2. He has no care left, though. Is going to have to try to get out of this one alive. Is going to rush. Victorian is having no cooldowns, though. They can't really do anything. You're going to be able to stall this point in a second here, though. You get back to the point. Oh, this is rough. They're going to eventually lose this.
They're going to lose it, but you got some charge there. You have a Blizzard online, but you're going to have to get past now what's going to be a very strong Colombian offensive wall right now. And he basically just takes upon himself to say, you know what, I have to sacrifice myself. But I think the touch came a little bit too early. You still have to find another one.
Yeah, and Freyek is there. Hermosa's going to be there. This freeze has to be the biggest of all time. And unfortunately, it's going to be lucky to catch on to Mixby. It's going to get Mixby, but outside of that, it's a freeze back from New 7 and Peru. They gave it their all. They made it exciting, but Dex, it's going to come down to Key getting back in here, finds a good stomp. Would love to build up to this as people are flooding back in one after another. Kratos' stun is down. Wait, big stun down right now. Super Gomez is incredibly low. Key is so close to having this ult online. Needs to go back in. Get to the last second touch. Can't use the ultimate in time. They're trying to rush back. Dex, they are keeping this so close, but they can't make it back in, and Colombia will move on to face Costa Rica.
And give it up to Colombia here. This series definitely could have gone away from them, going up 2-0 and then being 2-2 in the blink of an eye. I mean, you could have really been dejected. You could have really been in your own head thinking, what mistakes are we making here? What are we doing wrong? What are they doing right? And I think, man, there's your play.
There it is.
But the unfortunate thing is, in this last map, both teams specifically banned out heroes that really affected the viability of a Malga in a positive way for Malga. You got rid of the Mizuki, you got rid of the Reaper, which has been a big counter to the Malga here recently, just being able to chunk them down. You have the right click, which fires both the shotguns at once. You see that just melt tanks and supports as well. So the ban this last map, I think you could really look at here, especially if you're Peru, because the Mizuki being banned out, not the biggest deal. Peru never necessarily played the Mizuki that often throughout the night. The Reaper, though, they didn't necessarily play the Reaper that much either. But again, when you ban that out, it kind of led at least me to believe, like, hey, it's going to be Peru playing that Malga. But I mean, I don't blame Key for starting off on the SIG. The Zarya was the one that maybe was a little bit of a head scratcher, because like I said, the bubble popper compositions that we saw 6 months ago, yeah, you didn't play the Bastion, you didn't play the Malga, you played the Bastion. But like I said, Malga is essentially Bastion in a tank form. Those bubbles just went away too fast. Key wasn't able to keep themselves alive. The supports were doing all they could it's unfortunate for Peru. You had an incredible series here tonight. You would have loved to have the cap off there with a reverse sweep, but Colombia did what they had to do. You almost had an exciting final fight there on that second point for Peru to potentially get the point cap back in their control and extend the series to a final point. But Colombia did exactly what they needed to do, won that fight, won the map, and will be moving on to the semifinals.
Yeah, like I said, they have the game against Costa Rica tomorrow, and of course we have the USA-Canada rematch as well. But both those games are happening tomorrow, and they're going to be happening
or today.
Hopefully, well, technically today now, and yeah, with the fact that
see
it
you
is
in
now
19 hours.
Yeah, it's not gonna be long until we see you again. Yeah, I'm casting in at about a little under 9 hours. It's gonna be a fun time. But with that said, with that being the case, we're not gonna delay much longer here. Thank y'all for being here, and obviously thank you, Vivacity Esports and BPL for rating. Y'all are ballers all the time. Absolutely, thank you to you both and everyone who came out for this. We'll be back tomorrow for the semi-finals and, of course, the grand finals over on Sunday. So, everybody, appreciate y'all. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow for some more Copa America action.
All right, welcome everyone to the first episode of One More Round, the show where I ask people if they want to play one round of Overwatch. Well, I ask them a round of questions. My first guest is J-Man, DPS player from Grimoire. J-Man, thank you so much for joining me, man. This is, honestly, I'm going to say this. You have been one of my favorite players to watch ever since I started covering Face It.
Wow.
I'm so happy you are my first person to really do this.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, it is really fun to have you here. But, like, I just want to generally talk about Overwatch here a little bit right now. And to get a lay of the land here with how long you've been playing it. When did you get into Overwatch here? Like, was it launch? Was it GOATS era? Was it pandemic era 2020, which I guess is GOATS era? Or was it sometime after that?
Well, I played Overwatch since launch. I remember I played it on my Xbox. I played the beta actually, and I was like, wow, this game looks like it's gonna be pretty chill. So I remember ever since launch, I've been playing it on console, and then I think it was 2020, like right before COVID, I actually ended up getting my first PC, and that's when I started playing it on PC.
Nice. So,
and then at least for competitive wise, I didn't really play until I started college.
Nice. I mean, hey, I'm kind of with you right there. Started with the beta and kind of just casually played it for a very long time. Never got good like you did. But like when you started taking that first competitive step with Overwatch, like when, like you said, it was around college, but what was like that first thing to let you know, like, oh, I can actually, be really good at this game?
Well, I guess it's a little bit more in depth than that. To start my playing career, my high school, I was actually fortunate enough to where my high school had a esports team, so that was pretty chill. So the league we were in, like, everyone was pretty bad, so it's not like it was really that competitive, but we were able to win it because we had a few